You're listening to The Pete Sheppard Show.
Oh, it's good to be back.
Second and 6. Rush. Ball knocked out of his hand and ends up in the arms of Guyton. He gets it knocked out by Petrie, and the return for the touchdown by Derek Barnett.
Oh, 5 at home and outscored during that stretch by 116 points. That is the new America's team. Not my Dallas Cowboys, not your Dallas Cowboys, not your fathers or grandfathers or your children's Dallas Cowboys. They stink. And watch out for falling debris. And good morning, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Pete Sheppard Show here on the Coastal Sports Network. It is Tuesday, 11/19, and yes, I am back, feeling better than ever. Killed off a bug I had the last 3 days. Feeling great today. So much to get to. Huge show lined up today. Thanks, as always, for checking us out on the Coastal Sports Network and, of course, on the video platform. Following me at pshep326 at X and Twitter, and also on Facebook. Bunch of Facebook pages on Tampa Joe's Facebook page as well. Great sports bar up in Tampa. SR1029 The Game and SR1029thegame.com is our app. Ion TV, CSN Florida, Rumble, Kick, Spotify, LinkedIn, Twitch, YouTube, and always call or text the show 727-858-6650. Huge show coming up for you today. Jay Flannelly from Ann Arbor, from Beeves World. Oh, we have a lot to talk about, especially regarding Michigan and regarding LSU. I'll tell you how those two schools are connected in a big-time way. Plus, there's a lot of other college football news going on as well, even locally at FAU. That program's a mess. Tom Herman fired the defensive coordinator. Also, then they rehired him yesterday. What a mess that program is over there in Boca. Got some Miami at Syracuse news to tell you about in a couple of weeks, what time that game is. But lots to talk about with the Cowboys getting crushed at home again, 34-10. As I told you, they probably would. There's no reason to believe Dallas is suddenly going to turn it around. They get creamed by 24 points in that one. And we'll show you what happened pregame, which I really thought there was a chance the game was either going to get delayed or maybe even canceled if the NFL had to step in. We'll show you in case you missed it. The fucking Boston Bruins humiliated themselves again last night, losing at home 5-1 to Columbus. Absolutely pathetic performance. They give up more shorthanded goals than goals that they score. It's unbelievable. They give up 2 more last night. They're down 3-0 in the first period, and they get booed off the fucking ice as they should have. You should give your money back for that. That is awful. And we'll hear from Jim Montgomery, Brad Marchand, and I think Charlie Coyle as well post-game from that. Just an absolute suck-ass performance by the Bruins. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. And then I hear freaking Jim Montgomery talk about his days in Dallas when he started off with a horrible record and then went 14-4-1 and made the play. I don't give a shit what you did in Dallas. This team, special teams for the Bruins, stinks. It is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Just as ridiculous as that was Angels Philadelphia 76ers last night. Up by 19 against Miami. And not only were they up by 19, but they lost by more than 20 in the end. Unbelievable. That was Embiid playing 31 minutes. Maxey didn't play last night, but Paul George did. That was an equally pathetic performance last night by the Sixers. They're 1-9 in their last 10. What are they, 2-12? They are terrible. They're terrible when Embiid plays than when he doesn't play. Sometimes they're better when he doesn't play. We'll get to the NBA rundown as well, NHL rundown. Lots going on as well. And like I said, in the NFL, college football world, Doug Peterson still has a job. We'll hear what Adam Schefter had to say a little bit later on in the show yesterday about the Jaguars and exactly where they are. But with all of that and the Celtics tonight with one of the biggest games early on in the season as that stupid cup thing continues, but who cares? Celtics entertain their Cleveland Cavaliers tonight, team with the best record in the NBA right now at 15-0. Celtics are right there at 12-3. Now, this is going to be awesome tonight. I cannot wait for this game. It's on TNT. Everybody for the world to see. It should be fantastic. Could be a early preview of Eastern Conference Finals. But really, really looking forward to the Celtics, who are the anti-Bruins, who I'm so disgusted with. I don't mind losing. It's the way they lose. You get humiliated in Dallas the other night, 7-2, and then you come back with this crap at home against a horrible Columbus team. 2 shorthanded goals. What the hell are you people doing? What is this? That's not a hockey team. I'm surprised. I'm telling you, Jim Montgomery, I'm sure they're going to be calling for his head. I don't know. I don't know. Something is not right. Something is absolutely not right. It hasn't been that way. The whole season has been a mishmash. They have been, how many times have come in the air this year during this hockey NHL season early on and say the Bruins have been humiliated? Way too many times. Way too many times. It's the way they're losing. Just give the puck up, shorthanded goals. It's, mediocre goaltending, bad forechecking, bad everything. It stinks. Good morning, Angel. How are you?
That Pete is alive and well this morning. I am good, and you are absolutely right about the Sixers. They are 2 terrible. Forget about the 2-10.
They're done. Angel, they're done.
Yeah, they are.
They're done. I'm telling you,
they
they will not recover from this. They won't. They're done.
Yep. It's over. And I mentioned it when the whole nonsense came down with Joel Embiid about, I'm going to play this day. I'm not going to play that day. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do whatever I want to. Great. Let me know how it works out for you. Hopefully the NBA will actually do and some sort of investigation say you can't rewrite your own rules because your agent says so. Period.
There's no need to be an investigation when you stink. When he's playing, they stink, and when he doesn't play, they stink. Up 19. I was watching a little bit of that game last night. Up 19. Yes, I do have the NBA package. Don't ask me why, but I do. I have it because the Celtics are so good, and even though a lot of their games are on national TV, I still, I get it because there's other games I actually do watch some of these other games sometimes. And I'm especially intrigued with the 76ers, not only because it's good for the show and because you follow them as well, but to see these monumental collapses that they have also. I mean, between them and Milwaukee, who almost blew it again last night at the very end, but the 76ers are Nick Nurse. I'm not sure how much, and I don't know what any coach can do over there. I don't know how much longer he's going to survive with that one. I don't know what Daryl Morey and company are going to do, but it ain't working over there. It ain't working. And I don't know. It's almost like coaching in Dallas right now. I don't know what coach can fix that situation in Philadelphia unless everybody is on the same page and headed in the same direction. Same thing with the Bruins. Something's not right with Jim Montgomery. Either they're not listening, they tuned him out. But it's everybody on the Bruins. It's just a mismatch. Mostly everybody mishmash of shit, and that's how the hockey is being played, like shit. It's awful, absolutely awful. All right, let's get into what happened last night in Dallas. And if you didn't see the game or were not interested in the game, shame on you. To watch, of course, if you didn't want to see Dallas get humiliated, then I guess you tuned out. But there was no way in hell they would win this game. No way. They've been humiliated at home. They were outscored by 92 points going 0-4 into this one. They get creamed again. And it probably could have been worse. They only lose by 24 at home. They've been outscored, Angel, by 116 points at home, 0-5 at home this year after going 16-1 the previous 2 years at home. Absolutely pathetic. We'll hear all the reaction, but I want you to, here's the video. This is how you knew the game was going to go during pregame last night, where poor Lisa Salters almost got hit by not a player, not a football, not a cameraman, but look out below. All right, here's the report on ESPN last night pregame.
Game, right?
Oh, my God.
All right, we got a great show coming, and there's a ton to get to as it relates to this, as it relates to the big games in the NFL. We are going to talk to Lisa Salters a little later about Dallas, but she joins us right off the top, as the top here in AT&T Stadium is something of a story. Lisa, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Scott. Well, it was a bizarre series of events that happened here at AT&T Stadium about 45 minutes or so ago. I was standing in this exact spot getting ready to do a hit for SportsCenter when bits of debris started falling from the sky. They were opening the roof here, and you could see just big chunks of what looked like dust, paper, plastic.
Look at that
and
thing.
then all of a sudden this came down out of the sky. A big piece of metal just kind of floated down and fell onto the field. Again, this happened when they started opening the roof here. I asked the Cowboys PR staff, like, what is going on? And I was told that, like we saw, a piece of metal came loose and fell to the field with some additional small debris while the roof was in the process of being opened. There were no injuries, fortunately, and the situation is being reviewed right now, Scott, so that they can make a decision about whether or not they can reopen the roof for the game tonight. You know that they like to have that roof open when weather permits, and it is a nice evening here, but right now they're trying to reassess whether or not it is safe to actually open the roof because of the debris that was falling when they opened it earlier.
All right, Lisa, something we didn't anticipate we would be keeping a literal eye on. Thankfully, we have a roof over our heads here. No joke, that's a big chunk of metal.
Scott, the bottom then already fell out in Dallas. The top might as well, too.
There you go.
Like, it's cool.
It's very metaphorical
Yeah,
for Dallas' season. Yeah.
Sky is falling and all of that. No joke. We will be any information related to that we will share.
Not
with
now,
you.
guys.
All right.
Not
now. Okay. Sorry. As for the game,
Now, again, look, when she was still, when she started to talk about just debris falling, my first reaction was, okay, geez, okay, I haven't seen anything big. When I saw that big piece of metal strip thingy, whatever that was, that's a whole different story. If that hit somebody coming down, oh boy. And, I started to say, when I saw that, when Lisa pointed that out, I was like, uh-oh, the NFL may get involved here and may stop this thing because, Jerry may not want it stopped, but the NFL may want it stopped for debris. And I can't remember the last time I've seen that happen before a game. Seriously. And you got to wonder how close that game came to being at least delayed a little bit, if not completely suspended. It would have taken probably a lot more. But nevertheless, had that piece of metal, Angel, hit somebody on the way down, maybe it would have got some. Maybe it would have. And by the grace of God, they did not. Thank goodness for that. But what a clusterfuck in Dallas right from the beginning. And then, Angel, before we get into this game, if we could scroll up, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, for some reason, didn't get the word about the roof. And here's the open last night before the game started on ESPN or ABC on Monday Night Football. They obviously didn't get the word. You see, it's under awful announcing. Yep.
Still the best way to start a broadcast, no doubt about it. The roof is open for the first time for a Cowboys game in over 2 calendar years. Oh, they closed it. Mike McCarthy, 61. Still the best way to start a broadcast.
Still the best way to start a broadcast.
Oh, they closed it.
Oops. Play that again. Keep it going right from there.
No doubt about it. The roof is open for the first time for a Cowboys game in over 2 calendar years. Oh, they closed it. Mike McCarthy, 61. Still the best.
That's me. Oh, yes. They closed it. Watch out for falling debris in Jerry's world. Oh, my God. Unbelievable. Whoops.
I'm
Unbelievable.
going to take that out and put it as a sounder. Oh, they closed it.
And you knew the Cowboys were doomed from the get-go in this one. And it was Mixon had 3 touchdown runs, and we get to the highlights and the lowlights. And really, I want to, as long as we're playing video, this is another reason. This is what happened to the Cowboys. Let's scroll down, Angel, and let's see. Where is it? Where would I have it? Okay. Let's go to, this is during the Manny cast. the Cooper Rush interception on a pass intended for C.D. Lamb. Let's go to this highlight first. Let's video highlight first.
Oh, wait. Might be further up. Manicast. Oh, hold on. Is it under?
Actually, you know what? Let's just let's start with the one underneath 1010 XL. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman called the ESPN on the touchdown, the crazy touchdown, Cowboys disaster. This was the fumble that was returned for a touchdown.
2nd and 6. Rush. Ball knocked out of his hand and ends up in the arms of Guyton. He gets it knocked out by Petrie, and the return for the touchdown by Derek Barnett.
This is ridiculous.
Barnett with the defensive score.
Well, one-on-one with Derek Barnett.
Who fumbled?
He comes in,
Dallas
makes
had
the
it back.
play.
Yep, they fumble again.
And then he's also able to get it after it bounces around and run it in.
So Barnett forced the first fumble. Then Guyton gets it. Here's Barnett's play, who he ends up with a touchdown. Guyton gets it, and Petrie knocks it out of his arm. And there's Barnett staying with it, and he gets the touchdown. First defensive touchdown of the season for the Texans.
They call that a hat trick or
That
something,
is
don't they?
unbelievable.
Sure. Yeah.
Oh, my God. It was simply awful football by the Cowboys. And if we could scroll down a little bit now, I'm going to play this last video from this, and we'll get to some audio and reaction from Jerry Jones and company from Awful Announcing. This is on the Manning cast with Eli and Peyton and Bill Belichick. And this was 7-0 Houston early on in the for about 5:50 to go in the first quarter. And here Cooper Rush on an absolutely horrible interception.
That's when he was out there coaching it for sure.
Oh, no.
Oh, my God.
What are we doing? Thinking of not being on the same page. Does he stop? I think he stops. He got hit.
He ran into the safety.
Jeez.
He's supposed to run like an end breaker or a skinny post. He kind of runs into the safety.
He ran into him.
That's when he was out there coaching it.
Oh my God, that absolutely horrible. Thanks again there to the Manning cast from last night. Let's get to some of the other, some of the reaction to this one last night. I mean, it starts off with the debris falling. Lisa Salter's a big chunk of metal or whatever that was, a light metal thing that fell. Joe Buck screws up the open, thinks the roof is open and it's closed. Cooper Rush. Let's get to Cooper Rush on the loss to Houston.
Cooper, Tommy Yarsh, DallasCowboys.com. At 2 losses for you here as the starter. As you kind of look back, what do you feel like this team needs to do better offensively?
Yeah, we just got to get the ball in the end zone. We keep shooting ourselves in the foot. Had a couple chances, a couple momentum there in the second half especially, that we just didn't punch it in. Starts with me. He missed a couple throws. He dropped a snap.
Yeah, blah, 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 blah. By the way, Cooper Rush, 32 of 55, 354 yards, believe it or not. 1 touchdown, 1 interception. C.J. Stroud, 23 of 34, 257 yards, no touchdowns. Did have an interception. Obviously, Mixon was the player of the game, 109 yards on 20 carries and scored 3 touchdowns, which we'll get to in a second. Well, let's get to one of them now. Here is one of his touchdowns, number 2.
Mixon, a walk-in. Touchdown, Texans. And you can see D'Amico Ryan say, give me more. He wants to run the ball right at the Dallas Cowboys.
There's no doubt. They come in feeling like they can get it going with the issues that Dallas has had stopping the run. Josh Butler, who I mentioned, making the start tonight. He gave up contain, and Mixon bounces it for the score.
Joe Buck and Troy Aikman with the call last night on ESPN/ABC. Here's DeMeco Ryans on Joe Mixon last night and the run game.
Your thoughts on the way he took control?
The run game starts with our offensive line. I asked them to challenge them to play fast, play aggressive. Thought they did a really nice job. And Joe, when he's on, he's a force for us. Over 100 yards, 3 touchdowns. Just really like the way we just kept turning it in the run game, and proud of the guys for stepping up to the challenge.
Yep. Sure did. Jerry Jones, meanwhile, after the game, says the Cowboys, they're just not playing very well.
That was a hard one. I thought we could have a better accounting of how we play. We didn't. We are looking ahead. Now then, we've got a hole, and we all understand it. Regret that again for our fans. Good guys.
Jerry, what devastates you most about this home losing streak of 6 games?
Well, I don't know that there's anything but the obvious, and that is that we just aren't playing very well. Happens we're doing that at home for sure. We've had a big run of home games that we haven't done it, so we just aren't playing well, and it's several things out there for all the games, several things, and so it's not really the amount of the score at home. It's not really. It's just the way we're playing.
You're losing by like 24 points average at home. Of course, it's about all of it. No question. C.J. Stroud had a little funny moment last night as he was trying to praise the offensive line and the win.
Them boys, they're the heartbeat of our team. O-line and D-line are the reason why we win and lose. Excuse me, not why we lose. They're the reason why we win. Take that off the record. Right? Slipping. They are the reason why we win. But yeah, I mean, it's up to us to play complimentary football. And, a lot of times they get the blame, but it's not for them to blame. It's myself, sometimes, not getting the ball out on time and just mis-IDing or things like that. So, when those guys are humming and, we're playing on time, doing what we're asked to do as a philosophy, then it's hard to be beat.
All right, meanwhile, Joe Mixon, player of the game, 3 touchdowns last night, rushed for over 100 yards, and talked about the victories.
We talked in the pregame about a week ago where you have Detroit in your building, and you guys are playing fantastic football. Yep. And then in the second half, 2 things. A, that's a really good Detroit team you're playing.
Doubt.
And B, the second half has been a problem for you guys.
No doubt.
What allows a team to flush a week like that and play the way you all did tonight? What happens during this week from then till tonight?
I mean, it was a tough loss that we took last week. I mean, basically, we pretty much took all the coaches out of the locker room, and I huddled them boys up, and I think that we responded in a hell of a way after that conversation. Mm-hmm. The way we attacked practice, the way we attacked meetings, everybody on time, everybody doing all the little things right. And, everything translated to the field, and that's what DeMeco was talking about, and he was able to showcase that tonight.
I'm a big believer that what takes place in a room like that probably ought to stay in the room. So I'm not asking you to tell me what you say, but at the same time, I'm kind of asking, do you see things slipping? This is the first time you've been with a group. Do you sense that maybe guys get lazy in areas where they've been buttoned up? Is that a fair way to characterize it?
You know what? Well, like I say, it was a tough way we took that loss, man. And obviously, for the most part, we figured out that, whatever happens, it's on us to fix it.
Interesting.
Coaches, they do all the things to prepare us, which they think they do a hell of a job. Uh-huh. And it's up to the players to go out there and execute. And I thought that this week we responded in a hell of a way. I mean, like you said, I was a hell of a Detroit team. But, when it come down to it, if that was their best shot and we ain't finished early and we only lost by 3, hopefully we can make a run and meet them up again.
All right, so there you have it there. Again, no delays or injuries reported after another mishap, kind of foreshadowing the 5th straight home loss this year by the Cowboys, 6 if you go back to the Green Bay debacle last year. But thank goodness nobody was hurt. Tim says, boys are dead. They need a coach, a DCO, and a GM not named Jerry Jones. Mixon was a beast. Fantasy win. Yes. Yeah, again, and the people that are out there thinking that Bill Belichick is going to maybe bail out the Cowboys or something like that, I just don't see it. I really don't see Bill going to Dallas. as long as Jerry Jones is running the show. I guess unless they paid him some ridiculous shitload amount of money. But the Jacksonville thing may be more in play. We'll get to that. Adam Schefter's report from yesterday as well. I just don't see Bill going to Dallas as long as Jerry Jones is there, because he will never, ever be able to kind of sort of be in charge. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe people want him just to coach and not be the GM, and I understand all that. But it goes past that. It goes past that. And Jerry Jones basically, and I heard some other comments, he basically threw Mike McCarthy under the bus. He's never going to throw the players under the bus because he picked all these players. He made it happen. You know, he's the one who did all of this stuff and delayed the signings of Dak Prescott, sure went after Derrick Henry, and a whole list of fuck-ups that he was responsible for. That I don't know if any coach is going to want to sit there and listen to his nonsense, especially Bill, who's, you know, been there, done that, Super Bowl champion galore. Why are you going to sit there and have Jerry Jones, who I know he respects? I know they have a mutual respect and a friendship for each other, but I just don't see Bill taking that position ever. It's more like I could see him going to Jacksonville and several other places if the position should open up. Maybe the Raiders are going to be in play. New Orleans could be in play. There's a lot of things that could happen, but yeah, I would put Dallas at the bottom of that list. I really, really would. But 0-5 at home this year and outscored by 116 points. That is really pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. Speaking of pathetic, my Boston Bruins pathetic. We're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, I will recap that I don't know what the hell that was, that debacle last night at the Garden. The Bruins losing to that pathetic team, humiliated at home 5-1. We'll tell you what happened and get reaction from Jim Montgomery, Brad Marchand, and Charlie Coyle, I believe, as well. All part of the Pete Sheppard Show. It's going to be a huge show today. Jay Flanley coming up at 8:30. Lots of college football stuff to talk about with him, especially in Michigan and LSU. It's going to be a bidding war for Bryce Underwood. Who's that, some of you say? He's the number one prospect college quarterback in the country that is committed to LSU for now. But a bidding war could be ensuing because he's from up that way in Michigan, and they want to throw a bunch of money at him. And the way that Brian Kelly, the only way I see him saving his job is if he keeps this kid in Baton Rouge or for next year's class. He's the projected number one quarterback in the class, and he's committed to LSU for now. But we'll get Jay's thoughts on that and a whole lot more. John Leahy, UMass Lowell play-by-play voice for hockey. He's amazing and an author, and we'll get his thoughts on the Bruins as well. And he's got a couple of books out I think you hockey fans would be very interested in. Then my former colleague from WEI in Boston, Clyde Ordway, the Big O, is going to join me at 9:30. We will talk all things Patriots, Bruins, Celtics, Juan Soto. There was some baseball news yesterday as well. The Rookie of the Year awards were announced. Maybe we'll get to it. Maybe not. But all part. Next up, I break down the Bruins. I don't know what it was. The toilet thing that they played last night. I don't know. Some kind of a hockey game that went to shit. All that coming up next on the Pete Sheppard Show here on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Jimmy the Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our second location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu. Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it Gardenia. It's pronounced Jardiniere.
Phil Castanetti Sports World in Saugus, Massachusetts is New England's place to buy or sell the finest in sports memorabilia. For over 35 years, Sports World has offered the finest in sports collectibles. Last month, you might remember Tim Thomas, legendary Bruins goalie, returned on October 5th. What a turnout it was. And now a new event coming up. On Saturday, November 30th, it's Willie O'Ree, yes, the original Jackie Robinson of the National Hockey League. He'll be signing autographs to the public, $25 each. There'll be photos, pucks, and cards available. Phone orders are welcome. Just call 781-233-7222 for more information. Sports World in Saugus. Be there. Hey, everybody, it's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuzio and Ace Technology Advisors.
Ion Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, iontp.com. Ion Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Ion Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dad, your prescription will be ready in just a minute. Hey, Dad, your laundry will be ready in just a minute. Dad, your lunch will be ready in just a minute.
Hey, honey, why don't you take a minute? When you help care for a loved one, you give them as much time as you can, making sure they're safe and comfortable. But it's just as important that you take some time for yourself. At AARP, we can help with information and useful tips on how you can maintain a healthy life balance, care for your own physical and mental well-being, and manage the challenges of caring for a loved one. Because the better care you take of yourself, the better care you can provide for your loved one.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you. You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
All right, class, let's hear what everyone did this weekend. Jill?
Well, I raised my older sister to a big oak tree. It was at least 100 years old. My mom said I must have set a record or something. And then we went down by a stream and perched up on this huge rock and saw all of these little minnows swimming around way below us. And then I rescued my little brother from an evil slug king who was guarding him at the bush fortress. And my sister and I brought him back to our super twig fort for safety. And then we all laid out and told stories until it got dark. And the Big Dipper led us all the way home. Wow. Awesome. Where were you, Jill? Yeah. We went to the forest. It's not that far away. Anyone want to come this weekend?
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week and find the fun, adventurous you. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
The Pete Sheppard Show. It's fun for the whole family, if it's dysfunctional.
Osterley, back of the net with 5. Lori cranked it up the left side and all the way down, and that will do it. The Columbus Blue Jackets fueled by a 3-goal first period, 2 shorthanded goals in the game, and a sparkling performance by Elvis Merzlikins register a 5-1 victory over the Bruins here in Boston.
It is a sin. It was pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. A sin the way the Bruins played last night. And they should give the fans the money back. Absolutely pathetic. Inexcusable. Absolutely inexcusable to lose a game like that to that team at home. I'm tired of coming on the show every other day and talking about the Bruins being humiliated. Wake up! Wake up! Can't stand it. Unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. Where's my man? I need some backup here. I need some backup. Oh.
I have a big fucking problem. Yes, I do. Man, fuck me. This is wrong. Oh my God. This is wrong. It's just wrong.
Get 3 more going. Get 3 more going. 3 more working. Put them in the oven.
It's fucked. We're going down in flames.
Yeah.
Titanic ain't got shit on us.
That's right.
I'm done.
I'm done too.
You.
Get out.
Get out!
Get out!
Get the fuck out of here!
Go to the Bruins locker room. Go, you! Get the fuck out!
When you fucking keep leaving it in, just leave it alone. I had it fucking perfect.
You got nothing perfect. Shut up!
Right here, Chef.
I'd spend 18 hours with you guys today. I give you every...
Yeah, I need some more.
Yes, Chef.
Wake up!
Yes, Chef.
Couldn't finish the order, you lazy cow. Hurry up! Yes. Fuck off! Watch my stuff, please.
I need this.
What's wrong with you?
Nothing, Chef.
Look at me, hey, look, you ignorant bitch. Look at my fucking eyes when I'm talking to you. What's wrong with you?
What's wrong with you? Don't you want to shake every Bruin? What the hell's wrong with you?
Yeah. Get a grip.
Yes.
Hey, hello, come here, donkeys. Here we go. Come here. What is that? It's all right. What is that?
That's what I want to say, Angel. Come here, donkeys. What the hell are you doing?
Fuck off. Okay?
Exactly. You get the idea. Thank you, Gordon.
Could that be the possibly word? Because like if you curse at someone, people take it like, oh my God, I can't. Could donkeys be the worst word possible if Chef tells you you're a donkey?
When he says you donut, he calls them donuts. Doesn't matter if you're a man or woman. He doesn't give a shit. Oh my God. All right, the Bruins. I mean, this is just awful last night, and it was very, very difficult to watch. I was going in and out with it. Just pathetic. Matthew Olivier scored a shorthanded goal, 3 goals in the first period. The game was over. You could just tell 3-0. They didn't show up. They didn't want to play. The Bruins just sucked. You know what? Last night, everything that could possibly suck, and they sucked the life out of me. Again, I'm so sick of it. I haven't been this pissed off about a Bruins team to start the season in a long, long time because they don't get off to starts like this. And it's not the way, it's not that they've lost games. It's how they have lost in humiliating fashion. Humiliating. Charlie Coyle scored the Bruins' only goal. Jeremy Swayman had 24 saves, and the Bruins lost their 3rd game in a row. Early in the period, Merzlikins, the goalie, lost his stick, slid all the way into the corner. I saw this. Bruins unable to get a shot on the disarmed goalie. It just sucks. I mean, they stink. It's ridiculous how they are playing right now. I can't believe what I'm watching. And if you're watching all that, you got to be disgusted by what you've seen from the Bruins. All right, let's scroll down, Angel, and give you some post-game reaction here. It's right under Boston Bruins. This is Jim Montgomery, Brad Marchand, and Charlie Coyle trying to come up with something about, and Jeremy Swayman, by the way, react to the Bruins' loss to Columbus Monday night at the TD Garden.
Is this the old man? What's happening?
No. It's under. It's right. It's under.
Oh,
it's,
I see it.
Yeah. You see Coach Montgomery's bald head. So Coach Montgomery, Brad Marchand, Charlie Coyle, Jeremy Swayman.
Jim, have you been through anything like this before?
Here we go. This is my favorite.
I think I said it a couple of days ago. I started season 7-1 in Dallas one year. I went 17-4-4 after that. You gotta. It's. There's been a couple of wins where I thought maybe we were turning the page. That hasn't transpired. What you want in the first 20 games, you don't want to be out of the playoff race. We're not out of the playoff race.
What changed that year in Dallas? What was there something?
You know what? It was a similar game to this. We were down 3-0 halfway through the second, and we got a goal win at winning the game 5-3. And then we just started going. We started playing on our toes instead of playing on our heels.
Your level of frustration right now, Brad.
Yeah, I mean, definitely not happy with the way that things are going. We need to be much better in a lot of areas. Mistakes are going to happen in the game, and we're just kind of compounding them. And it's not acceptable to continue to have the same mistakes and do the same things over and over that aren't bringing us success. So we need to be a lot better.
Where are you seeing, maybe it's not easy to pin down, but the biggest issues? Is it changing game to game, too? Maybe that's a better way.
I think it starts with our compete level. I think it always starts with your compete level, first and foremost. I think that in this league, you have to have the highest compete every night if you want to be a good team. And, we have it through periods of the game. We have it at times. And when we do, we're really good. But then we get, in these other moments of the game where we think we're a skilled team and we want to play through the middle of the ice, and that's not us. We have to understand what our identity is and play to that. And we've yet to do that really for a full 60-minute game.
What do you think?
What identity?
I always want to expand my role and be more of a leader. I try to be a guy who leads by example. That's been a staple for me. But I want to raise my voice more and speak up when needed, and we need that. We need that from everyone. It's not just one guy. It's not the guys wearing the letters. It's those other guys right behind them, and even our younger guys. Like, everyone has a voice in here. That's the culture. That's how it's always been. So I need to do my part, hold myself accountable, be responsible, and be better. As a leader, as a player, we can all be better. We know we can. When you're not winning games, you got to look in the mirror first and foremost, and that's definitely what I'm doing because I know I can be better.
Jeremy, where do you feel your game is at right now?
I think it could only go up from here.
But why do you think it hasn't been at the level you want?
I think there's multiple reasons. I think there's habits that I could be better at. There's experiences that I could use to my advantage, but tough times don't last. Tough people do. So that's my mindset. Tomorrow's a new day, and I'm gonna win it.
Do you think missing some of training camp is the reason for this?
I think I've had enough time now to adapt and get back to things. I think the biggest thing that I lost out on was this group, and I'm really trying to engulf just being in a room again and being a leader, and I want my play to speak for that. So I need to step up, and that's exactly what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I mean, this is not on Jeremy Swayman. Yeah, he could be playing better, but this is not on it. You look at the giveaways and how this team has played top to bottom this year. It's been mostly sucky stuff, except for the back-to-back shutouts they had a couple of weeks ago. It's just been inconsistent. They've lost 3 in a row. The last 2 games humiliated in Dallas 7-2, and then this was even worse, to lose 5-1 at home to a bottom-dwelling team like the Columbus fucking Blue Jackets. something's got to give here. Something's not right, it's might be time for Jim Montgomery to go. You know me, Angel. I'm not one. I don't go out and call for coaches to get fired right away, stuff like that. Urban Meyer might be the lone exception where I knew it was going to be an absolute disaster from day one. This is not that type of situation, but now I'm feeling that it is. It's getting to be at that point where you got to make a change here before you lose the season. And there's plenty of hockey left. There's plenty of time. There's plenty of time. You've seen plenty of coaches get fired in the NHL before the halfway mark, and then lead teams, sometimes even to the Stanley Cup finals. It's happened before, but there is something not right with this Bruins team. They don't listen. They don't put. It's everything. It's all three phases of the game, as they say. I mean, it's everything from winning faceoffs to goaltending, forechecking, back-checking, and the amount of shorthanded goals is pathetic that they have given up this year. You're just not used to seeing a Bruins team like that. They're usually at the top of the league in penalty killing and usually one of the top of the league in power play. They got none of it. Absolutely none of it. So they take on the Utah Hockey Club on Thursday, and the Blue Jackets will host Tampa Bay on Thursday night as well. All right, thoughts on that? Please let me know, especially my fans up in New England, how disgusted you are. The anti-Celtics is the Boston Bruins. As well as the Celtics have played, the Bruins have been the opposite. And I hate to use the word humiliating, but they have humiliated themselves and their fan base over this past season. It's been ridiculous. All right, moving on to the rest of the NHL from yesterday. And Angel, if we could, I do have one video I do want to play from and not this second, but it'll be the last highlight. It is not too far down from Spittin' Chicklets. And I'll tell you in a second. Let me just run down the other scores. I'm going to play that video in a second. As we just told you, Columbus over the Bruins 5-1. Colorado got by Philadelphia 3-2. The Flyers dug out of a hole, but their 5-game point streak ended. Montreal blanked Edmonton 3-0. Anaheim doubled up Dallas 4-2. Washington over Utah 6-2. Alex Ovechkin looked like in this game he was going to score 10 goals. He had 2 immediately, was going for back-to-back hat tricks, then got slashed and had to leave the game, never came back, so he finished with 2 goals. The Capitals go on to win anyway, 6-2. And finally last night, San Jose and Detroit, and here is how it ended, Angel Martinez.
Whoops.
Osterley back of the net in 5.
No, that's not.
Lori cranked it up the left side and all the way down, and that will do it.
It's not the cut. This has to do with it's right under the. It's like 4 down. It's under Spittin' Chicklets.
That's the one I saw from Spittin' Chicklets, but hold on. Let me go back. The first, hold on. Go to this one.
Yes, that's it. Here's how it ended last night at San Jose.
With the cat, Alex DeBrincat. Granlund to the line. The give for Celebrini. Macklin Celebrini in. He scores! Macklin Celebrini, his first NHL game-winning goal, and the Sharks take it in overtime.
Celebrini. It was very close entering the zone. Granlund does a terrific job of staying on side, and then that little move inside, that little move with the stick, attacking the net. And Macklin Celebrini right here, they thought maybe this could be offside, but he has control of the puck even though his feet are over the line, so it stays on side. This little move, boom, boom, heel, toe, and in between, 7-hole, Macklin Celebrini wins it for the San Jose Sharks. Check this out.
With the cat.
Great to see the number 1 pick out of Boston University. Yes, that's his 4th goal of the year, but his first game-winning goal, as you heard. So good for him. Like to see all the local kids do well. For me, local Hockey East players, always like to see them do well. So a hell of a goal right there. That toe-heel thing was fantastic, and the Sharks go on to win. Good to see their Celebrini with the win. All right, to the NBA we go. Might as well do an NBA rundown here before we get back to the NFL and college football. So in the NBA last night, Chicago got by Detroit 122-112. Miami over Philadelphia 106-89. The 76ers actually had a 19-point lead in this one. and then got outscored by 20-something afterwards. And I think that's the first time this year in the NBA, if I saw my stat correctly, that has happened, where the teams have been up by 19, only to lose by more than 20. Or whatever, or close to it. It's 89, 99. So what, by 17. Lost by 17. The Knicks got by Washington, 134-106. Knicks have won 3 in a row, unfortunately. Toronto over Indiana, 130-119. Milwaukee and Houston. Oh, boy. This came down to the wire.
Got 2 to work with. Dame off the bounce against Brooks. Dame driving inside. Kicks it to go.
That made it 101-100. But the Houston Rockets had a chance to inbound the ball, which they did to the big center, and couldn't get it going. Couldn't get it in. Went out of bounds. Milwaukee wins 101-100. Orlando over Phoenix, 109-99. Atlanta over Sacramento, 109-108. And Eddie Johnson sounded off on De'Aaron Fox's recent high-scoring performances.
Just watching he and DeRozan, and I know a lot of people, didn't know how that would work with DeRozan and him. It works, man. Both of them is just hard to guard, man. And they come off each side of that handoff.
Yeah, and here's how it ended last night.
Back to Young. They corral Young. Hunter, a wild release. Comes off. McLaughlin. 6 to go. Fox. He's the man. D. Fox had it knocked away by Daniels. Got the timely steal when it counted the most.
Games. He had a total of 30 steals. By the way, no one has more than 28 steals on the season. That was his first and only steal of the night.
It's ball game, folks.
NBC Sports California, thanks for the call there. Clippers and Golden State. This was unbelievable. Clippers were up 102-99. Here is the last 30 seconds of this game, or last possession for Golden State. They're trying to get the ball to Steph Curry.
In the middle. Powell. Curry has it. Down by 3. Smells blood in the water. Green. Back to Curry. This is for the tie. Rebound tapped around. Green saves it. Wiggins. 5 to play. Curry gives it up. Payton for the tie. Oh my goodness. And the Clippers are saved by 0.
Saved by 0. Remember that song? By The Fix back in the 80s. They had about 4 hits that came off of that first couple albums. Actually, Red Skies at Night is the first video I ever saw on MTV, for me. Anyway, Gas Pump Guy says, good morning, fellas. Ready for a great show. Hope you're feeling better, Pete. I feel great. Feel fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. 180 from yesterday. Find a little bit of baseball news. Lewis Gill wins the Rookie of the Year, American League for the Yankees. But Paul Skeens, 11-3 this year with a 1.97 ERA. He wins it for the Pirates.
Of the 2024 National League Jackie Robinson Rookie of the Year winner is Paul Skeens. Congratulations, Paul.
Yay. Congratulations, Paul, from all of us. What does this honor mean to you right now?
This is cool.
Great. This is cool. Great stuff. And, of course, he's dating Livy Dunn, gymnast from LSU.
Is he?
Yeah. They've been together for a while now. And, they both went to LSU. He won a national championship there. And they were the two of them were guest pickers 2 weeks ago on before the LSU-Alabama game on College Game Day. It's pretty fun. Yep, pretty fun to watch. Yep. Glamour couple. The glamour couple. We'll do some more NFL at the top of the hour coming back. The Chicago Bears, and rightly so, are pissed off that there wasn't a penalty called on that blocked field goal. When he broke it down and saw it, there were like 2 or 3 penalties there that should have been called on that block. They didn't see it that way. They want to file a lawsuit and do all that nonsense. If we could, Angel, though, scroll down, do a little bit. We'll go into the break with a little bit of fun here. My man, I have 2 cuts from him. Neil Involunteer Prey, a.k.a. Josh Prey. Scroll down a little bit, Angel, and the new movie coming out, Red One, which looks absolutely hysterical, with J.K. Simmons, Dwayne Johnson, Chris Evans, Lucy Liu, and it's basically, I think, about something like a Santa Claus kidnapping or something like that. And they have to find the trailer looks hysterical. This movie's going to make a shitload of money, and rightly so. I guess Josh Prey, our comedian from down here in Naples, and now changed his name to Neil Involunteer Prey because he's lost so many bets for the Gators, and now and that Tennessee was winning until last week. Anyway, he has a movie review for Red One, as only Josh can do. Here it is.
To anybody that said this movie wasn't phenomenal, who raised y'all? What kind of childhood did y'all have? Did Santa leave y'all a lump of coal in y'all stocking? This is a perfect Christmas movie. The Rock, great job. Chris Evans, Captain America, to me, great job. Lucy Liu, you down there? Phenomenal. J.K. Simmons as Santa Claus. You are my Santa Claus without a belly. This movie is perfect. If you like holiday spirit, if you like cheering up, if you like a nonsensical movie that has nothing to do with nothing, they got Krampus in this movie. This movie ain't supposed to make sense in the grand scheme of things. This ain't Oscar performances, and this ain't tears coming out of your eyes. This is super childish funny. There's a scene in this movie when The Rock got to do a slapping contest with Krampus. Kind of feel like that was real. Kind of feel like there was no CGI at all. I kind of feel like Krampus exists and y'all trying to give us hints. Take your child to see Red One. Get out your feelings. Remove all your political opinions. Stop making children not enjoy the holidays. When you were a child, you thought Santa was real. You watched Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. You left cookies by the Christmas tree if you had one. I was in Florida, in Immokalee, in the hood. We ain't have no damn chimney. But if Santa would have came through that window, I wouldn't have tripped because he had a red costume on and he was leaving presents by the tree. Bring the joy of Christmas spirit back. Red One did that. This should be a holiday classic. In 30 years, when people are showing their children what they watch, Red One should be what they show their children. But instead, a bunch of adults gonna get on the internet and say the movie was terrible because they don't got it, because they miserable, and they interjecting their personal feelings into a children's movie. This movie was perfect. I want to be on a sleigh so damn bad. I want a reindeer that's 20 foot tall that eats carrots. I want to fight a snowman on the beach. I want to be a part of the North Pole. Red One was perfect. I want to do it, man. But no, I'm an adult. I'm a grown up, and the movie just didn't make sense to me. Shut up. Take your damn child, eat some expensive popcorn, drink a $20 Coke, and go home. Give that child memories, man. Red One was perfect. I want a reindeer. Santa, I behave. Take me off the naughty list. I want a reindeer.
It's all there, black and white, clear as crystal. You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
The trailer looks phenomenal. He's absolutely right, 100%. I saw people that were, I know what he was talking about. I saw some people responding to his review there. And of course, everybody has to make it political. I'm not going to do this because of this and this political beliefs and that. Then you people are never going to watch anything or go see anything the rest of your life. If you start boycotting people because of their political views, then you got nothing left in your life. You're miserable. It's your choice. You want to be miserable like that. What do you go through? Everybody's resume. If everybody went through everybody's resume to see what skeletons are in everybody's closet, nobody would watch anything. It's ridiculous. He's absolutely right. Nobody can do anything anymore without injecting political stuff into it. Stop with that crap. It's so boring. You're boring for doing it. I can't watch this because they're too liberal. I can't watch that. I hate Trump. I hate Biden. Kamala sucks. Trump sucks. Gates sucks. Everybody sucks. I get it. So who cares? If you enjoy music, whatever it is, music, any form of entertainment, and you are letting somebody's political views affect you, then just stay home and be miserable. Get the fuck out of my face with that crap. I can't stand it anymore. It's unbelievable. Every gosh damn thing is becoming political. The sky's blue. Ah, you're liberal. The sky's still blue. Ah, you're conservative. Why? What the hell has happened to this country? What the hell has happened? Can you imagine us growing up, me being 57 years old? Imagine me growing up in the 70s because I didn't like this artist or that artist. I like political stuff never, ever came up as far as entertainment goes. I had no idea what people's political affiliation were. And the other thing is, I don't give a shit. I don't care. If it's entertaining, it's entertaining. My God, Marlon Brando didn't accept an Oscar one year because, he was something protesting a Native American thing and all that crap. Fine. Not like I'm not going to watch a Marlon Brando. It's not like it didn't make me watch Godfather 2. Okay? It's unbelievable, this stuff. Who cares about, why do people let political affiliations affect your entertainment in enjoying? And as he said, maybe depriving your kids. You're not going to see that. He's too conservative. And you're not going to see that, Sally, because he's too liberal. I can't imagine my parents ever feeling that way or telling me something like that. Thank God for that. Jesus, what the hell is going on? Just get over yourselves, everybody, and get over this political shit. They don't give a shit about you overall. You care way more about them than they care about you. You can spin that any way you want. Yeah, someone's economic policy may be better than this one and that one, and there's certain policies you like, but overall, those people don't give a shit about you. They don't. They care about their own egos. That's all politics is, their own egos. Do you see some of these nut jobs that are out there on both sides? Do you really see it? On both sides. These people are fucking crazy, some of them. They're crazy. They don't care about you. Anyway. Peter Galli, they're going to shut the door. Oh, we have the doors open for outside today. Anyway, that's it. What?
Oh, it was just a great. Oh, what a great recap to it at the very end. Oh, yeah, man.
That's all about. So the bottom line is go take your kids to see a movie, for God's sakes. And don't let people's political beliefs interfere with your children's entertainment. That's the bottom line here.
It is. No, you're absolutely right, though. Everything's become completely political, and it's a shame because before, if you liked a certain movie, you liked a certain genre, whatever it was no big deal. It's like, oh, you don't like that? Why do you don't like the artist? Oh, I just don't like his beats. Okay. Now it's, just like you said, why don't you like the artist? Because they went with that person.
These helicopter parents, these Karens out there today, and I don't know what you call the dad Karens, but there's a bunch of them out there. They wouldn't let their children watch Rudolph. If Rudolph, that cartoon, which has been on forever and ever, is there anything more, quote unquote, racist or talk about belittling? People would spin it like because Santa didn't like Rudolph's red nose initially, remember? And that was considered like, oh, we were kids. We didn't think about stuff like that. But it's all about being different. My child, if this was out today, my child is different. My child is different. Why are you making fun of my child? Because he has extra freckles or everything. That's how it would be spun today. Now, I never felt psychologically damaged about it when I was watching that movie or watching that cartoon for many, many years. As you get older, you start to say, God, Santa was kind of a prick in that one, wasn't he? He really was. And how about the parent? Well, not the mother. How about, was it Donner? The father, right? I mean, he was embarrassed of his son with the red nose. Embarrassing. That came out today. People would lose them. What? You can't. He's going to grow up to be a nobody. You're going to psychologically damage my child, and with making metaphors to reindeers and children growing up who may be this, that, or the other thing. We didn't think about it that way. And your parents didn't say, "Oh, geez, boy, it's bad parenting." I mean, you get older, you see stuff and everything else. But I mean, just let it be. Just let it be.
Stupid. Like what Rick says
Rick
here.
Ham says, bring back Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben. I got no. I never. That was nothing to me. I was like, oh, these are nice people, nice syrup. I love the rice, all that stuff. And that just never put it into that kind of context.
Nobody did. No
Race
one never
politics.
poured
It's
on.
just like, who cares?
Right. You
And
never poured it over your pancakes.
all these people that are going off that really think that either Trump or Biden or come out, it doesn't matter what politician, if you really think that they give a shit about you're kidding yourselves. You are kidding yourselves. You may agree or disagree with some of the policies and all that, but if you really think deep down that this is some personal attack on you or you, for whatever it is, you've lost, as Gordon Ramsay would say, you've lost the plot. You've lost the plot. You think of yourselves as way too important. These people do not give a shit about you. They don't. I care more about you and my listeners than any politician will about you. They care about their own agenda and what makes them look good in public. Doesn't matter what side you're on. Doesn't matter. Deal with that. Hour number 2, the Pete Sheppard Show, coming up next here on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Jimmy the Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our second location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu. Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it gardenia. It's pronounced Chardonnay.
Phil Castanetti, Sports World in Saugus, Massachusetts, is New England's place to buy or sell the finest in sports memorabilia. For over 35 years, Sports World has offered the finest in sports collectibles. Last month, you might remember Tim Thomas, legendary Bruins goalie, returned on October 5th. What a turnout it was. And now a new event coming up. On Saturday, November 30th, it's Willie O'Ree. Yes, the original Jackie Robinson of the National Hockey League. He'll be signing autographs to the public, $25 each. There'll be photos, pucks, and cards available. Phone orders are welcome. Just call 781-233-7222 for more information. Sports World in Saugus. Be there. Hey, everybody. It's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuzio and Ace Technology Advisors.
Ion Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, iontb.com. Ion Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Ion Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
To some people, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much. But that's not necessarily true. By 6 months, they're combining vowels and consonants. By 9 months, they're trying out different kinds of sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on some meaning. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Early screening and intervention can make a lifetime of difference and unlock a world of possibilities. Take the first step at autismspeaks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
The following is made possible by Dad.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling all over it.
The dad joke. Corny, groan-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
Why do you have to be careful when it's raining cats and dogs? Because you might step in a poodle.
And kids that spend more time with their dads grow up to be smarter, more successful.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding.
And, with any luck, funnier adults.
Why didn't the skeleton go to the dance? Because he didn't have anybody to go with.
Dad jokes rule. So take a moment to make a moment and give your kid a laugh. It's as easy as going to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
That's really funny.
Okay, men, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. It's up to you. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna go grocery shopping, cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments. Don't you forget about the pharmacy. No, you won't. Because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. This is your time to show the world, your family, and yourself that you're tougher than tough. Now go out there and be the best caregiver this world has ever seen. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick, and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing. But not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6. That little girl sitting alone at the playground, she can't play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the reality in our country, but it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on simply being a kid because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
The Pete Sheppard Show. It's fun for the whole family, if it's dysfunctional.
Yeah, we had to be firmer inside. For sure. And again, we'll turn the play in, because obviously they're on our long snapper. So we'll turn it in and see what the league says from there. But again, we just got to be firmer in the execution.
Matt Eberflus doesn't like the way the game ended. I don't blame him. When you saw the replay after the Packers blocked the field goal, there were a couple penalties there. The NFL, he's going to submit plays and hope for an investigation, replays, and all that stuff. Welcome back. It's hour number 2 of the Pete Sheppard Show here on the Coastal Sports Network. We'll have more from Matt Eberflus and company and the Bears in just a few minutes here. Thanks for checking me out on the Coastal Sports Network today and across the video platform. As always, Monday through Friday from 7 to 10 a.m. You can follow me at PShep at X and Twitter, on Facebook, SR1029 The Game, SR1029thegame.com, Ion TV, CSN Florida, Rumble, Kick, Spotify, LinkedIn, Twitch, YouTube, and you can call or text the show, 727-858-6650. A little bit of sad news to report that I just found out about. A dear friend, former broadcaster, artist, partner, writer, Larry Johnson. Those of you who remember him from WEI on the weekends, mostly on Mustard and Johnson, but certainly was a staple on our show, on the big show, for many, many years, and across other shows as well. Maybe the nicest, sweetest guy in the business I've ever met in my life. Never had a bad word to say about anybody or anything. fun to be around. He was 75 years old, died peacefully on November 15th at Bay Point Nursing and Rehabilitation Center in Brockton. Married to his wife, Sharon, for over 45 years, and born in Boston, raised and educated in Boston, was a graduate of Canton High School. He was unbelievable. He attended the School of Museum of Fine Arts in Boston, and his love of art developed into a passion for cartooning. He was amazing. Amazing cartoonist. The stuff that he made somewhere, and I'll try to find it. There's a great a pint beer glass of myself and Glenn, and he used to do caricatures of a whole bunch of people and worked for the Globe. He worked for ESPN.com, on the Quickie page, WEI.com, and he also wrote for the National back in the day. Remember the National, the great daily sports paper that was out. Always insightful, always humorous, thoughtful. And just one of the sweetest guys you'd ever want to meet. You'd ever want to meet. And he survived. A great husband, father, grandfather, all of that. I mean, just an amazing man. Survived by his children, Nicole, and her husband, Peter, his wife. And the list is endless. So anyway, there's visiting hours will be held on Monday from 9 to 10:30 a.m. at the Farley Funeral Home on Park Street in Stoughton. So condolences to my dear friend Larry Johnson. I cannot tell you how many times that he tried to help people. I guarantee you when Glenn comes on at 9:30, he was particularly supportive of Glenn during a very, very difficult time in his life, which I'll let Glenn reiterate to you if he so chooses. But Larry was always there for anybody and everybody, always. Always, always, always. He was an amazing guy, and I'm sure his former broadcast partner and my other friend, Craig Mustard, I'm sure is devastated losing Larry. But he really was one of a kind, just a happy, jolly guy. Unbelievably talented from an artistic point of view, broadcaster, writer. Was just a wonderful human being who, through good and bad times at the radio station, whatever, was always 100% supportive of everybody that worked there. I'd never heard, he's one of the few people in my life I can say, besides maybe kidding around about an athlete here or there, I'd never heard him say a bad word about anybody, ever, that I can, in my lifetime. Penguin says, R.A.P. Larry, yeah. And he was a special man. He really was. I just talked to him a couple months ago. I didn't realize he was sick. In fact, I wanted him to do some sketches, some stuff for us here on the Coastal Sports Network. I was going to send him some pictures of us and surprise you, Angel. And now that's not going to happen. I should have done it sooner. But anyway, rest in peace, Larry Johnson. You were the best, and you're going to a better place. He was also a very, very religious man, very faithful in his Christian beliefs, and always respected him because of that. And he never pushed it on anybody. Never did. And he used to kid us all the time. He's like, yeah, because you'll be calling me. He said, wait till one of your teams really, he would never curse anyway. I'd never heard the man curse at all. And he would say, yep, wait till your team goes down the toilet. You'll be calling me for faith and prayer and all that stuff. And that's just the way he was. He just was a wonderful, wonderful man. And my thoughts and prayers and condolences go out to his entire family. So Larry Johnson, you will absolutely be missed. All righty. And thanks for Boston Radio Watch for retweeting that. I would not have seen that. I did not know. I did not know what was going on. All right. Let's continue here on the Pete Sheppard Show. Bottom of the hour, Jay Flannelly will join me. I know he knows Larry Johnson as well, or at least listened to him back in the day. All right, let's get back to what's going on. The Bears have filed a complaint to the NFL about losing to the Packers. We just heard Matt Eberflus, and here's Matt Eberflus saying he would take the same course of action leading up to the game.
Yeah. But again, we felt good where it was. The win was not a factor there. We felt good where he was on the field, and we felt very confident in his ability to get that done.
Meanwhile, Matt LaFleur, the Packers head coach, on the Bears submitting a final play for the league to review.
Matt, the Bears put in the final play. They said they thought they sent it to the league. They thought you guys might have been over their center too much. Just wondering, did you guys feel like you did it correctly?
Listen, I've seen a lot of plays where I think a penalty should have been called and it doesn't happen. So
I'll just leave it at that. I thought there was multiple plays in that game. It happens. That's why I always never want to leave it in the hands of the officials. So you got to try to stay out of those situations as best you can.
Yep, you certainly do. Meanwhile, Angel, if we could scroll down just a few from 1010XL, Mia O'Brien's station, in case you missed it. Here's Adam Schefter yesterday on the Pat McAfee show talking about the future of the Jacksonville Jaguars. You're right, you just went by it. You just went by it. That right there. Boom.
Change is coming to Jacksonville. We just don't know whether it's going to be today, tomorrow, next week, next month, or when the season ends. Now is obviously a natural time to look at it. And to my knowledge, there haven't been any decisions made. I would think that at some point today, there may be some conversations between the owner, Shad Khan, the head coach, Doug Peterson. I think that there's a feeling in the building right now where everybody is anxious, uncertain, nervous about what's going to happen. Would you be surprised if something happened today? No. Would you be surprised if something happened tomorrow? No. Like something's coming. That was a horrendous performance. It was the worst loss in franchise history. It was an organizational failure. Right now, again, I don't think anybody is safe in Jacksonville. Change is coming to Jacksonville. We just don't.
Meanwhile, here's Doug Peterson yesterday saying he won't be pointing fingers.
I think you got to be really, really careful when you start pointing fingers at certain people. It's a dangerous thing, and I'm not going to do that. Not doing it. Not right now, because that's, as a head coach in this league, that's going through what we're going through. You're pointing a finger, and if it's going to be pointed, it needs to be pointed at me. Start with me.
Yeah, and it probably will be. But this is it's been a disaster for the Jacksonville Jaguars this year, and certainly for Trevor Lawrence, who I and others really thought he'd be in the MVP race. Meanwhile, another team that can't finish, Zach Taylor still believes the Bengals have a shot at the playoffs.
You know, it's a team we believe in, a team that believes in each other. It's sick the way that these games are ending and the way that we feel coming off the field every week. The feeling I got when I got to talk to the team in the locker room after all these endings this year. You know, what I just keep telling the team is at some point this has got to help us. At some point we got to find some momentum and we got to get on a run and we got to find ourselves in a good position where we reflect back and we don't ever want to use a loss for good, but it's got to help us in some way. We've played some really good football teams, you know, and we just got to find a way to finish it. I keep saying that, you know, and obviously we're a play away every time I say it, but I still got the confidence that we can get this thing done.
To that point, what's the balance you find as the head coach? I mean, obviously you have a system that you really believe in and it's led you to a lot of success, but in these games that are ending in the same fashion of, you said you don't want to make wholesale changes, but by continuing to do the same thing.
I think we all watch the game. We can see it just coming down to one play in every single game. And so why would you make a big wholesale change when it just come down to one? That to me is just panic. That's not what we're about. We believe in what we're doing. And so again, we're not going to be those people that just panic because the record's 4-7 and we start making all these significant changes. That's not what the answer is. You know, we play good football. We're a good football team. We believe in our guys. We got good systems in place. And again, we're going to hang in there and support each other and find a way to get this thing done. And if we can get it done, it's going to be a dang good season. You know, and again, it's not so far what we would have written for ourselves, but I'm telling you, I stand here today with the utmost belief that we can still get this done on the back half of our schedule.
Do you realistically believe this team still has a shot at making the playoffs?
Yeah, I'm not just saying it just to convince others. I mean, I say what I believe right now. And when you watch this team compete and the guys we got and the coaches we got, I love going to work every single day. It's not something you dread. You're 4-7 and you don't want to be around these people. It's the opposite of that because I can see that something special can still be there. And again, people may not believe it, and that's okay. I get that. But I've seen this group do some really good things before, and I still believe that we can get this thing turned around and do that.
Zach, you hate the word desperation. I mean,
Is there a sense of desperation now that perhaps a team could play a little bit better?
No, I mean, we still have the same mentality that we're just taking it one game at a time. And that's the way this league works. And, we've got a lot of experience doing it this way where you just focus one game at a time, you find that win, and next thing you know, you can catch some momentum, and the team's got confidence, and people rally behind you, and you can still have a pretty special season. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Zach.
All right, moving on to the New York Giants, and they're making a quarterback change as well. See you, Daniel Jones. You're not even got demoted to QB2. You're going to QB3. Brian Daboll explains.
So we're making a quarterback switch here from Daniel, and we're going to go with Tommy. I spoke with all the quarterbacks this morning before our morning meeting. Let them know what the direction that we're going. Those are never easy conversations. Got a lot of respect for all three of those guys. After evaluating a bunch of things and looking at a lot of tape, and being around Tommy last year where he created a little bit of a spark for us. That's the reason why we're going with Tommy. Drew will be the backup. Continue to work with him. He's been nothing but a pro, and as was Daniel. So it's never an easy conversation to have with the players, but felt like this was a necessary move for us, and look forward to working with Tommy and getting him ready to go against Tampa.
All right. Drew Lock's going to be the backup QB2, and Brian Jones is going to be holding a clipboard. Brian Daboll also keeping any conversations between ownership, the front office, and the coaching staff private.
I mean, we asked you this a lot, but how does ownership factor into this, and how did they factor into this specific situation? I know you talk to them all the time, you tell us up, but how did they factor into this situation? And then the perception from some outside is, hey, this is a move you're making because, ownership wants it. It could help put fans in the seats. It can create some buzz. What do you say to that?
Yeah, understand your question, Jordan. Again, our conversations will be private. We have plenty of them, and looking forward to Tommy getting ready here to go against Tampa.
Did ownership give you input, or was it you guys coming to them and say, hey, this is the decision that we made?
Yeah, again, respect the question. Our conversations will remain private here, but we made this decision, and let's get Tommy ready to go.
All right, and all right, let's move down to the Jets before we take a quick break, and then Jay Flannelly is going to be joining me at the bottom of the hour. Jeff Ulbrich of the Jets, he's a head coach, by the way, 1-5 since he took over. Asked about Aaron Rodgers.
Sometimes it doesn't happen because of the coverage. Sometimes it doesn't happen because of the protection. A lot of things go into it. But you're absolutely right. We need to get the ball going down the field more often.
Does he look hesitant or gun shy?
No, I think he has he's historically one of the best as far as protecting the ball and not putting the ball in jeopardy. So I think a lot of it's that. It's his. It's his for the team, he never wants to put the ball at risk. He never wants to give interceptions, and he's done that his entire career, and I think that's a big part of it.
All right. Meanwhile, Bill Belichick on Sirius XM NFL Radio was asked about Aaron Rodgers.
To Aaron Rodgers, what's your assessment of what you're seeing with him?
Again, Jim, it's really hard when you're not on the inside with these guys. You're not sure exactly what they're being told, how maybe whether they have some physical limitations, but they're playing through them. Certainly with Aaron, I'm not sure. You still see the snap in his throws. You still see the ball come out quickly and accurately. Maybe a little less mobile than he was, but doesn't look like it should be that limiting of a factor. So I don't know. I think being on the inside is really certainly there's been a lot of turbulence at the Jets this year, and it's probably negatively affected a lot of people, not just him.
All righty. There you have it. We shall see. The Jets continue to stink. There's no doubt about it. And Anthony Richardson lit them up the other day as well. All right, quick break. Jay Flannelly going to join us when we come back here. Lots to talk about. Lots and lots to talk about with Jay. Some interesting conversation ahead. I promise you that. All part of the Pete Sheppard Show here on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Jimmy the Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our second location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu. Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it gardenia. It's pronounced Chardonnay.
Phil Castanetti, Sports World in Saugus, Massachusetts, is New England's place to buy or sell the finest in sports memorabilia. For over 35 years, Sports World has offered the finest in sports collectibles. Last month, you might remember Tim Thomas, legendary Bruins goalie, returned on October 5th. What a turnout it was. And now a new event coming up. On Saturday, November 30th, it's Willie O'Ree. Yes, the original Jackie Robinson of the National Hockey League. He'll be signing autographs to the public, $25 each. There'll be photos, pucks, and cards available. Phone orders are welcome. Just call 781-233-7222 for more information. Sports World in Saugus. Be there. Hey, everybody. It's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuzio and Ace Technology Advisors.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I gotta tell you, I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too, but I'm glad we are.
Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and life experiences come together through conversation, and it feels good.
Wow, your story is so...
Interesting?
Yeah.
When people actually sit down, talk, and listen to one another, they can break down boundaries and connect as human beings. At lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep, you can listen to amazing, life-changing conversations and find simple tools to start a conversation of your own.
I know one thing. This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope, too.
Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together by having the courage to start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Whoa! Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Woohoo! Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
You want the best in sports and entertainment?
You got it. Now back to the Pete Sheppard Show.
Do you feel that as a coach, you want to establish, an identity when it comes to those types of situations? Like obviously, certain coaches, they're going to go for it on fourth down, no matter what, or they're going to kick a field goal as opposed to punt. Like, do you feel like you need to have an overriding philosophy when it comes to that, or is it a case by case type situation?
Yeah, in my opinion, it's a case by case, like how the game is going, what the flow of the game is like, and like I said, in the moment, I always feel like I'm making the right decision. And it's very easy to look back and say, "Well, I wish I would have done X, Y, and Z." And that would be multiple situations. Like you can go back to the London game, and then some of the same situations showed up yesterday. And if you execute, we're not having this conversation. But as I sit here today, look, it's 100% on me, and I have to be better.
All right, that is Patriot head coach Gerard Mayo, and yeah, he could take all the blame and all of that stuff. Patriots made it close, lost 28-22. Drake May played well on Sunday once again. But here's the thing I don't understand is you let Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp combine for 229 yards and 3 touchdowns. The one thing Bill Belichick always did, and maybe you can't take away both of them in one game, but for Christ's sake, you got to double team at least one of them during the game at some point, and he didn't do that on Sunday. I never saw a double team at all on Kupp or Nacua. So it was very frustrating in that way that once again there weren't some adjustments made defensively. Covington, the DC, I don't know. All I know offensively they're progressing. Drake May certainly is absolutely the real deal. But I don't know how we don't see a double team. I don't know how Gonzalez isn't shadowing one of these guys all day on Sunday. I couldn't understand how their two of the best receivers in the game, both of them combined for 229 yards and 3 touchdowns. Got to do something. I don't mind. You get beat in the running game, or you get beat from a tight end or a third or fourth stringer. Okay, that third or fourth, number 3 or number 4 wide receiver. I can live with that. But to have 2 of the top receivers in the NFL, not to mention on the same team, and you can't stop either one of them, you got to stop one of them. I know the fumble, didn't help that Drake May lost. I understand that led to a score. I know the interception where Pop Douglas was wide open at the end of the game and looked like it was going to go in for a touchdown, except it ended up being a miscommunication, and Drake ended up throwing an interception. I believe, having watched it now 8,000 times from my house, that Pop Douglas ran the wrong route. And Drake did a good job of not throwing one under the bus. But we can talk about that and a whole lot more. There's lots of college football to discuss as well. We welcome from Beeves World's Jay Flannelly for his weekly visit here on the Pete Sheppard Show from Ann Arbor. Good morning, Jay. How are you?
I'm doing better than the Patriots defensive coaches. Great job by you killing them for the non-double teams and the lack of a good game plan.
I mean, look, it started off okay, but there were no adjustments made. I don't know how you don't double team one of those guys. I don't think there was one double during the whole game.
I saw some stats from like PFF and other people. You're right. And just as a great example, you always like to talk about Coach Belichick, and I do too. What he would normally do when he faced a team like this, well, they have 2 stud receivers, but he would put the number 2 corner on the best player, which is probably Nacua at this point.
Yep.
And then you double Cooper Kupp.
Yep.
That's
at
what
least for some of the game. At least for some of the game.
Yes. Now, like the second play of the second half, the bomb where Cooper Kupp ran like 75 yards, one guy deep. I think it was Jonathan Jones.
Yeah.
That type of stuff. That's going to happen. They don't have a great pass rush. They're getting some guys back, Barmore and so forth. But that was why I think they lost the game. The defense just couldn't cover these guys. And why not play nickel and dime all game and make McVay run the ball? I mean, with Kerryon Williams and Blake Corum. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things there. But again, Pete, I think the Rams are a really good team. I think they're a really big threat to the Lions because of what we just talked about, the great passing game. And Matthew Stafford is, I mean, you guys got to see him. He's unbelievable. He was in the witness protection program, known as the old Detroit Lions for years.
Yeah.
And now he's on, some of the throws he makes and just.
No, he's phenomenal. If they ever played, I think that game would be 50-45. And they just lost Angeloni, the linebacker, stud linebacker, for a good 6 to 8 weeks. Maybe he's back for one playoff game. I don't know. They've been banged up all the. That would be a fun NFC Championship. That's got 90-plus points written all over it. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and the Eagles are another one with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown and Barkley. There's going to be some points. I think the 49ers are done. Sorry, Kathy. She's dying, my business partner. Tampa Bay, too, with Mike Evans and Godwin. Godwin's hurt. Evans is close to being back. Atlanta's a joke. Minnesota's kind of come back to earth. Sam Darnold's not playing well. Green Bay, I don't.
Yeah, but they're winning, though. But Minnesota's, but they're winning. Yeah. Well, Green Bay, look, I think they got very lucky. There were 3 calls that should have been made on that block kick. I mean, there were like 2.
You mean rushing the center, maybe?
Oh my God! You're supposed to protect the long snapper. Once again, the officials. How many fuck ups did the officials have between Saturday and Sunday? I don't know if you saw any of the Clemson game, Pittsburgh. And Sean McDonough went off on Terry McAuliffe. I loved it. Terry McAuliffe was supposed to be there to explain bad calls and everything else. And some of these guys still insist on defending these horrible calls because they're buddies. And you hear what Sean said? He's like, "Come on, Terry." He goes, "It took 3 minutes for them to drop a flag after they dropped a jumbo, on a jumbotron screen because of a degree and stuff like that." But you go back, look. You get in the tournament, anything can happen, right? Look, after the Giants went 9-7 and won the Super Bowl against the Patriots, any team that gets in. So I'm not sold on San Francisco being dead yet. I mean, are they going to be one of the favorites? No. But when they come back totally healthy, that was a shock on Sunday to me. They lost that game. They have dominated Seattle. They won 6 in a row against them until that game. But that just goes to show you. Geno Smith looked like Geno Smith from 10 years ago. And
most of the game he did.
Yeah, and then at the end, San Francisco had a chance at the end, didn't get it done.
Well, the other thing, Pete, there that happened that people aren't really talking about is Boza got hurt late in the game. Yeah. That when you're in the 2-minute and the best pass rush,
he was off the field. The stats him off the field in that game when he was on the field were night and day.
Bingo. Yeah. I mean, he's unbelievable. He's so fun to watch, and I know where he went to college. You don't have to joke about that, but he's pretty good. And that's a huge loss. And this has been a weird year for them. I was talking with Angel about this last night. With the teams had all the noise in the offseason, obviously Dallas, the 49ers, our buddy Trags and the goddamn Bengals. And the team you disciplined me for, and I didn't listen, the goddamn New York Jets, who I was laughing. Because I'm at work when the games come on. We got Red Zone on. Yeah. The Jets game comes on, and they ran a stat. They had a new kicker because of Harrison Butker being hurt. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The Chiefs claimed their kicker, the Spencer Stenwich or whatever the hell his name is. Yeah. But the Jets have had 4 different kickers in 4 weeks. How the hell does that happen, Pete?
It's the Jets. It is a Jets. And Aaron Rodgers, the last few minutes of that game, looked like a deer in the headlights.
He looked interested, didn't he?
No clue. If his name wasn't Rodgers, I would have said, who is this schmuck they have? It's some stringer that they picked up off the street in Brooklyn to come and play quarterback. I mean, you got to be kidding me. When Anthony Richardson lights you up.
Yes.
That's the best game of his career and game-winning drives. Aaron Rodgers, it is just absolutely hysterical how bad he is, how bad the team is. It's absolutely fantastic.
And Pete, you can beat on me for a year. I came on talking that noise about them being good, and you said, Jay. Just sit
Let's
in
see
the
how it
corner.
plays out.
Just shut up, Jay. They're the Jets. And of course, I've grown up watching this nonsense. But again, they were the Mirage. They were like Nebraska. I watched them on
very similar in the NFC as the Bears. Very similar. Way too much pressure.
They have a way better
Way
team
too
than
much
the
pressure put on Caleb Williams, and made
no,
way
you're
too
right.
much pressure,
You're
thinking people that they were going to outdo. They were going to outdo the Lions, which I thought was crazy. And even before J.J. McCarthy got hurt, they were saying, "Oh, they're going to be better than Minnesota." Well, they're not. They're not well coached. He did play much better under Brown, way better. Probably deserved a better fate with those calls, but he looked like a completely different quarterback out there. He ran the ball well. When they kept up, use your leg.
DeAndre Swift going,
Yeah.
DeAndre Swift in the running, and Rashawn Johnson. No, if you watch that game, it was very noticeable. And Angel and I talked about this last night. They did a lot of West Coast stuff. Quick throws to DJ Moore and things like that. Because DJ Moore hates Caleb Williams.
But he scrambled when he you could tell he was. They told him, "You want to feel like running, run."
Yep.
And that was something that he
simplified the game basically. Yeah. Simplified the game for him. And if you didn't see before the game, Tom was working with him before the game. He was doing the game broadcasting. Tom went and talked to him on the field and was showing him stuff.
Yeah.
So, which. If you don't know who Tom is, it's this guy, Tom Brady. And because, by the way, he's helped Caleb out with the draft process when he was coming out. He counseled him in a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
I think the kid's kind of misunderstood. Is he the sharpest knife in the drawer? No, but he's not Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he's not the human Ebola virus where he comes in and just everything goes.
Not at all. No, not at all. No one's saying that. And obviously, he's got talent.
Yeah.
And
here's the thing, Pete. The other thing about the Bears,
coach.
That's what I was about to say. They need an offensive head coach. I don't think Mike Vrabel would be great there. I don't know. Maybe. Hey, I talked about this last week. Ben Johnson hurt the Lions, helped the Bears. Who's another offensive guy who's out there?
Well, I'll tell you another guy that
might be available. Doug Peterson might be available, Pete.
There's an offensive guy out there. And on a mediocre team right now in college, but my God, his name has gone.
Lincoln Riley.
No, Eric Bieniemy. I mean, to hear that name, UCLA, for him to go to UCLA as the OC after being denied, and I was on his side. I thought for the last 3 years should have been given a head coaching position, but his name has died down significantly, even though UCLA is playing a little bit better than they have. But under his tutelage, you would think they'd be a lot more, a better high-scoring team than they are, and they're not. And I don't know. I don't know if we're going to see him in the NFL, if he's going to get an opportunity again. That's
a weird job.
Flavor of the month. He was a flavor of the month the last 3 years. Now he's.
Oh, I know. That's a weird job, UCLA, because we've seen USC's clearly regressed, and you wonder if Lincoln Riley's going to leave. But UCLA is like the JV school. And they have nobody at their games. I don't know what their NIL situation is. It's really a basketball school.
Yeah.
But I don't have to make – here's another name.
But it should be both. It should be football and basketball.
No question.
It's inexcusable what's happening. You got Indiana going there and smack them in the face.
Look at Indiana.
Yeah. Well, how about Cincinnati getting that contract? That's $8 million a year. It's at Indiana. Ooh.
Actually, Pete, you see, he's got a retention bonus. It's 9. Yeah. He's getting every year he's there. He gets a retention bonus of $1 million. So it's 72. But listen, I have a lot of friends around Indiana. The guy who brought me to Michigan is a former quarterback and basketball player there, and they have a serious NIL program. And this is kind of what's happened with NIL and the portal and everything. The superpower teams like Ohio State, Michigan, Georgia, Alabama have been kind of brought back to earth because schools that have money that you wouldn't think of as sports powers outside of basketball, like say Indiana, they have donors. They have a huge donor base. That's why what Penn State is and what they're doing with that clown as their coach is inexcusable. They should be way better than they are. And it's field goal.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought this up.
Here's another.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say. I want to go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you finish.
I was going to say, as far as another offensive coach for the Bears, he's near you. Liam Cohen with the Buccaneers.
Yeah. Not a bad choice. And they've done an amazing job without Godwin and Evans in there. A lot of that has to do with Baker Mayfield and stuff. But pretty amazing job, the points that they're putting up despite not having two of the best wide receivers, in the league. I want to stick with college, though, because really interesting. I'll give Brian Kelly credit for this. He never backs down from coming on Paul Feinbaum's show every day, every Monday at 3:15 to 3:30. Win, lose, or draw, no matter how humiliating it is, he's there. He's answering questions. You may not like it. It's uncomfortable, but you may not like what he says, but at least he's there. Now, that being said, I think it's true, and I want to know, and I don't want you to hold back at all. I want you to tell me what the hell is going on here, because the only way he stays at LSU, and I mean Brian Kelly, is that Bryce Underwood, number one quarterback in the NFL in high school, who's from Michigan up that way. He is already committed to LSU. However, we all know there is a bidding war going on right now between Michigan and LSU. And my guess is in the end, he's going to decommit from LSU and go to Michigan. How close are you to this situation? And how close is that from actually happening? Come on.
Pete, I know nothing about what you're talking about. I'm kidding.
I know nothing. Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Okay, I do. Okay, let me talk. Okay. I'm going to try to answer this as honestly as I can without getting myself or anybody else killed.
It's just money.
I think everything you just said is true. I think he is going to decommit from LSU. Part of everything that's going on there, he was at the Alabama LSU game, and then obviously we saw what happened to them the other night in their game. There's things going on. I know for a fact we will outbid LSU in money. And I think this is a ongoing situation. Don't believe everything you see and hear and read. But I do believe, and I'm not a big recruiting nerd. I think that he will end up here. And I think we will also add a veteran named starting quarterback from another Power 5 team or Power 4, whatever the hell it is now. It's Power 4. Power 4 team to balance a Cade McNamara, J.J. McCarthy type of thing, where we have a veteran guy in place. But I do think he will end up here. And there'll be some things going on as soon as this weekend to confirm or emphasize what you and I are talking about.
But if you're going to,
I just did the Bill Belichick media training class, Pete. I gave a bunch of information without saying anything.
But for Bryce Underwood to stay at LSU, the AD is going to have to come out, or the president, and say Brian Kelly is staying. That is the only way maybe he doesn't decommit. There's no question. Right now, Brian Kelly, they're calling for his head right now. And fair or not fair, whatever it is, but to lose that way again, the way they lost at the Swamp, when Florida's playing a lot better. We give him Lagway's played very well.
Billy Napier saved his job, Pete. You and I have talked about this.
Not only Napier, the AD, Strickland saved his job too. And the AD, because his ass is on the line just as much as Billy Napier's job. So there's no doubt about that. Brian Kelly, the other thing too, Brian Kelly's got $60 million left on his contract. $60 million. That's I know Florida State gets rid of those contracts sometimes, and A&M does too. But I don't know if LSU is going to give up $60 million.
Okay, but what did they pay Ed Ogeron and Les Miles when they fired both of them?
I don't think as much as this. I think this is. I think that.
But Brian Kelly's much less likable, and he's a much worse coach than both of those guys.
Yeah.
I mean, don't forget, Les and Ed Ogeron won national championships.
Yeah, that's the thing. And year 3, this is. I mean, with LSU, and it just doesn't seem to be. It's gotten worse. It really has. It's gotten worse.
And let's be perfectly honest with you, Pete. Also, he's a jerk. And just the things with him on the sideline screaming at the kids. He names his coaches after the game. I mean, he's not, people do not like this guy. And I was talking to Angel about this. You know the story about him and Robert Saleh, with Robert Saleh and Matt LaFleur, and he was at CMU. You know that story?
No, I don't. I don't know that story.
He was the head coach at CMU, and Robert Saleh and Matt LaFleur.
You're talking about Central Michigan?
Yes, he was the head coach. Yeah, Brian Kelly was the head coach there, and LaFleur and Saleh were the GAs. Mm-hmm. He invited them over for a Christmas party, and he had them shovel snow in park cars.
Oh, I remember that. Oh, I did hear that story. Yeah, I did hear that story. Unbelievable.
That is the urban legend. It was a story for about 10 years in circles, and then Saleh talked about it when he was with the Jets at one of his press conferences about how he's seen guys. Somebody asked him about coaches abusing privileges and things, and he brought that up. And I couldn't stop laughing because you get these urban legend stories. It's like the one with Jamarcus Russell, Lane Kiffin, and Al Davis. Hey, take this tape home and watch it. That's another one.
Yeah.
So the story is Lane Kiffin was trying to show Al Davis how bad Jamarcus Russell was and how lazy he was. And he gave him a tape to go watch at home. And he did it in front of Mr. Davis. And then 2-3 days later, Jamarcus came back and Lane Kiffin said to him, hey, did you watch the tape? And he goes, yeah, I'm good. And then he went and showed the tape to Al Davis. He's either blank or midget porn, whichever version you like better. Yeah. And that's now I've heard the midget porn is really what it was. But So then Al said, okay, you can get rid of Jamarcus. But that type of stuff goes on way more than you think. And there's always you have 1 million with Belichick. I have 1 million with Belichick too. But there's always some backroom funny stories. But Brian Kelly is universally despised throughout sport.
But he'll get another job immediately. If he gets canned, he'll get another job. But
he's a good coach, but he's a nincompoop.
Yeah, but he did land. And if he's that much though, then why does this kid want to go there? That's the thing. I mean, if it's nil money, then I understand it. Nil money, then I understand that. But the AD has got to, or the president really has to come out and give a total vote of confidence, unless they're going to lose Bryce Underwood to Michigan, and God only knows how many other decommits they will have if he's not there, despite what's happened down the stretch. I want to get into another thing, college football. And it's down here in Boca. The Florida Atlantic Owls, I mean, that team's a fucking mess. They fired Tom Herman, rightly so, I guess. On Monday.
What was up with that?
Well, I mean, he's 6-16 at FAU in 2 years. He's gone 0-6 in the AAC this year. They're on a 5-game losing streak. They lost to fucking Temple. I mean, look, but the thing is, then they fired
Rock Valentoni.
They fired Rock Valentoni, the defensive coordinator, and then they rehired him yesterday.
It says on Temple's uniforms, fucking Temple, by the way. It says it on their unis. So, no, I mean, yeah, Tom Herman. You want to talk about a guy who's fall from grace? He was the Texas coach.
I know.
Before Sarkisian.
Yep.
I mean, it's wow. I mean, you want to talk about a different world.
He was 32-18 at Texas, 4 bowl wins in 4 years. And prior to that, 22-4 at Houston, dominating AAC and beating Florida State in the Peach Bowl back at 2015, I think it was. And then he worked for the Bears.
He's getting fired into the Atlantic, at Florida Atlantic.
FAU better get a grip here and realize the competition. I'm not just talking about, obviously, the Miami, and Florida State, and Florida, and UCF. USF has surpassed them. And you look at USF is going to be redoing their stadium and everything else. I don't know what's going on at FAU. What you don't want to happen is to become what UMass became, and they just fired Don Brown, because I've seen pathetic football programs can bankrupt your athletic department and cost you to lose teams. I bring up the Temple situation all the time. They lost the baseball team. Other schools have had really shitty football teams in Division I. I'm talking Division I only, and you can bankrupt your athletic department and start to lose other sports if you don't start to at least compete a little bit. FAU is in big trouble right now.
No, I mean the whole state of Florida, outside of your guys, Miami, and obviously Florida's getting by with Napier, and you mentioned.
I mean Florida State and Norvell not going anywhere with that contract, but still.
No. But. And the Florida State thing is crazy because he just got a big extension to 2031. If they win one game, I mean, how do they keep him? I mean, who do they have left? I mean, who do they? Oh, by the way, you brought up UMass. You know who they play next?
Yeah. Was it that guy? They have Mississippi.
The Bulldogs,
right?
Georgia.
Yeah. Oh, Jordan, that's yeah. Well, I mean, it's just again, and no disrespect to Brown, who I admired him the first time he was
Great
there.
friend of mine. Be careful.
No, I know, but that program has been. It's got to be one of the worst in the country, if not the worst.
I agree.
It's been that way for a bunch of years. I mean, I don't know how you fix it. I don't know how you fix it over there because they're screwed. UConn had its moments. UConn was the worst team, one of the worst teams in the country until lately. Now I don't know what to do at UMass. All I know is I fear as a state school over there, the same fate could happen to happen at Temple. They're going to start losing teams. That football program sucks, and they got to be losing millions of dollars every year. They have to be, Jay. And I don't know how in this day and age you're going to survive that. I really don't.
Well, here's the amazing thing, Pete. Everything you just said is true, where they're a mess. And Don walked into this, and before that, Mark Whipple and the other people they've had there. But here's the thing. They have a TV deal with ESPN. Every one of their games is on.
Well, now they're going to the MAC next year. Yeah, I agree with it. Well, every school there are very few games that, and no matter who you are, that you can't find on TV or ESPN.
Oh, you and I talk about this all the time. ESPN Plus and other things. Yeah.
And UMass going to the MAC next year. I know they think it's going to help the program. I don't know. I hope it does. I guess.
I mean, you're not excited to see Eastern Michigan to come to town, Pete?
Oh, man.
The big Northern Illinois game. I mean,
hey, they beat Notre Dame.
You just made a really good point bringing up UConn. But what did UConn do? They went and hired a name coach in Jim Mora.
Yeah.
So there's one thing they did. And they have money because their basketball teams, both their basketball teams are awesome with Coach Hurley and Coach Gino. So, and their baseball team's really good. Their hockey team is now good. They just had a really good series with BC over the weekend.
Oh, UMass's hockey team is good too, but that's not a revenue generating sport, unfortunately.
No, it's not. It's not. But Pete, it's the Doug Flutie effect. You bring in people with the name recognition. And
they need to do that. They need to find somebody and pay somebody, a coach, to come in, try to straighten that up. Jay, I'm completely up against it because I'm got a loaded show today. You're the man. All the best. So it's great stuff as always. Love your insight to what's going on.
You're my man, Pete, and I'm glad you didn't ask me about Jim Montgomery. I might have said some unfiltered nasty needs.
I already did. I already went that route.
Get him out of here now.
It might not be too much longer. Jay, all the best. We'll look forward to your show tomorrow.
Thanks,
all right, bud.
Okay, buddy. Have a good one. Good to see you, Pete.
You too. Jay Planley here on the Pete Sheppard Show. Coming up next, John Leahy. He is a great play-by-play voice in college hockey and also an author. And I'm sure he has some thoughts on the Bruins as well. And probably Larry Johnson also, who passed away the other day at the age of 75. Longtime artist, broadcaster, friend, just a man of God. And just a wonderful human being. All right, all part of hour number 3 of the Pete Sheppard Show coming on next here on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Jim and the Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our second location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu. And guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it Gardenia. It's pronounced Chardonnay.
Phil Castanetti, Sports World in Saugus, Massachusetts, is New England's place to buy or sell the finest in sports memorabilia. For over 35 years, Sports World has offered the finest in sports collectibles. Last month, you might remember Tim Thomas, legendary Bruins goalie, returned on October 5th. What a turnout it was. And now a new event coming up. On Saturday, November 30th, it's Willie O'Ree. Yes, the original Jackie Robinson of the National Hockey League. He'll be signing autographs to the public, $25 each. There'll be photos, pucks, and cards available. Phone orders are welcome. Just call 781-233-7222 for more information. Sports World in Saugus. Be there. Hey everybody, it's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them, sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuzio and Ace Technology Advisors.
Ion Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, iontp.com. Ion Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Ion Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
The Pete Sheppard Show. It's fun for the whole family.
If it's dysfunctional.
Welcome back to the Pete Sheppard Show, hour number 3, everybody. Thanks for checking us out across the Coastal Sports Network and the awesome video platform that we have. Follow me on Twitter, X, at PShep326, on Facebook, SR1029thegame.com, Ion TV, powered by Ion TV, powerful Jedi as they are, CSN Florida, Rumble, Kick, LinkedIn, Spotify, Twitch, YouTube, and always call or text the show, 727-858-6650. Thanks to Jay Flannelly from Ann Arbor a little while ago. Some great insight there as well. College football and NFL. Glenn Ordway coming up, the Big O at the bottom of the hour. But it is my distinct pleasure to welcome in one of the classiest men in the business. It's John Leahy, play-by-play extraordinaire for hockey and baseball, author, and just an all-around swell guy. John, thanks for taking a few minutes. Great to have you on the show. How you doing?
Pete, I'm doing great. Let me tell you, it's such a thrill and a pleasure for me to have the opportunity to talk with you. I've been a follower of your career for a long time, and to have this opportunity, it's great fun. So thank you very much. It's great to be here.
Sorry about that. Anyway, yeah, I'm just thank you for the kind words, John. And I feel the same way about you. We've never really had the chance to chat in a forum like this, but I mean, you have been doing college hockey play-by-play. You did the Lowell Spinners for many, many years. Class A affiliate. I mean, you have done it all, and now I'm so happy for you that you're doing UMass Lowell and Coach Norm Bazin play-by-play up there. I'm sure Hellebuck's name must come up every other day with how the Winnipeg Jets have started with them, and you called some of his games before in the past as well, even if you were doing some other teams in Hockey East. And you're also an author. You got a couple of books out, which I want to tell you about, which I want you to talk about a little bit. But also, a dear friend of the broadcast business passed away. I don't know if you saw it earlier. We found out earlier today. Larry Johnson passed away at the age of 75. So I don't know if you ever had any dealings with him, but you couldn't find a nicer, sweeter man besides you in the entire business. Really, never had a bad word to say about anybody. Had that chance to work with him, for many, many years. Just a overall, great guy. I didn't know if you heard of his passing or not.
Actually, I didn't, Pete, and I'm sorry to hear that Mr. Johnson passed away. I know the impact and legacy that he left on the business. So again, very sorry to hear, and I know that's very difficult for us all to process. So my thoughts and prayers go out to his family.
All right. So, okay. And I appreciate that. No question. And I'll talk about it more with Glenn at the bottom of the hour as well. Take me through what your broadcasting career has been like. We'll get to your books in a second, but just say the last 5 years. Tell our audience, and we have a lot of, even though we're a national and worldwide show and heard in 50-something countries around the world, I'm not making that up, but I still have a big New England contingency that listens to this program from New England and down here where I am in all of Southwest Florida. So update everybody on what you're doing now. I know you're happy as a pig in poop.
Well, Pete, I was very happy to be given the opportunity to come to UMass Lowell. I had spent the last 19 years at Merrimack College, so I wound up staying in the Merrimack Valley. And so I did 17 years of radio for Merrimack and then 2 years of television. And then when the great Bob Ellis stepped down after 40 years of doing games, the position came available, and I had a dialogue with Lowell, and things worked out to the point where I'm traveling again, doing every game home and away. So I've been in Hockey East for 20 years, and it's something that I love every day, and I never take it for granted. I've done a lot of baseball work as well, Pete. As you know, you mentioned I was with the Lowell Spinners for a decade, and unfortunately the Spinners went away in 2019 due partly to COVID and also partly to the minor leagues being restructured. And unfortunately, haven't had a chance to get back into the play-by-play business on the baseball side, but I've had a great career. You know, I worked in Lynn first with the North Shore Spirit, and worked out in Kentucky for a year with the Florence Freedom, and a couple of years in Kalamazoo, Michigan with the Kalamazoo Kings. So, if my career ended tomorrow, Pete, I'd die a happy guy because I'm following my dream, and it's you have to be grateful for what you have, and I certainly am.
I know over the weekend you were in lovely Burlington, Vermont. I know the UMass Lowell Riverhawks in college hockey are ranked 15th, I believe, in the country right now with a 6-2. How'd the weekend go in Burlington? Did it snow?
It certainly can this time of year up there, but no, we were lucky. We hit good weather up there. Riverhawks won both games up there, Pete. They won 5-2 on Friday, and then a 3-0 shutout on Saturday. The Riverhawks have equaled their win total of all of last year. They won only 8 games a year ago. They were 8-24-4, and they've started out of the gate 8-2. And we're really, really happy to see that the Riverhawks have increased their goal scoring production. They're getting goals from multiple players, and it was just a terrific win up in Vermont, winning those 2 games up there. Catamounts are tough to play up there, and you go up there and get a couple of wins. That's impressive.
And like last year, Norm Bazine with a great coach, and for that team to only they're never that they are never that bad. It was I know it's had some heartbreaking losses last year, but it's good to see that they're back on track. Always good. Always up to see the Hockey East teams do well. How about Celebrini last night? Did you see that goal he scored for San Jose?
No, was that a home game? It was on. It might have been on kind of late. Yeah, I missed it.
It was.
Was it highlight reel?
I saw that. It was a toe drag kind of thing. It was great. First game-winning goal. He's got 4 goals on the season. But I love to see all the Hockey East teams do well, and the players that used to play in Hockey East. I try to follow them and give us as much praise as possible.
Yeah, I mean that's the cool part of the job, right? You get to see them when they're on the verge of getting to the NHL, and when you see a superstar make it to that level, you say, "Hey, I saw that guy." Yeah, Jack Eichel's a perfect example.
Yeah.
He was with BU for a year, and then he jumps over to the NHL. Has had a great career. So, yeah, that's the fun part of it, Pete. And to have the opportunity to do it is just wonderful.
Now, I know you're a big hockey guy too. Did you watch any of that nonsense last night and that 5-1 debacle?
Yeah, I was tuning in and out, but I didn't like that first period at all. In spite of that they had chances in that opening period, they just came out flat. And there's
again.
Yeah, there's problems. There's problems there that have to be addressed, and you got to think Jim Montgomery might be on the hot seat now. And
I don't know how it can't be. And it's not I don't mind losing games, but it's how they've lost games. They've lost 3 in a row, and it seems like every other day I come on this show and talk about how the humiliating effort. You don't hear about that. They give up more shorthanded goals than they score during the season. It's just you're not used to seeing Bruins on special teams be this piss poor. It's awful.
Yeah, the guys you expect to be out there giving good production really are not, and I think it's kind of spread to the whole team right now, and they've got to find a way out of it. But, the good thing is it's still early in the year, Pete, time to turn things around. But one game at a time, we'll see how it is going forward.
How long what's the process in writing a book, right? You've got a couple of them out. Living a King's Life is one, and then Breaking Wisdom is two. I want you to talk about both of them. How long I want to write a book. I think I think someone would be fascinated to have me tell my story.
I'd be the first one to buy it, brother.
Of the mean streets, coming from the mean streets of Narragansett, Rhode Island, with an ocean view from my room, all the way to Fort Myers. I think it'd be interesting. But in all seriousness, so how long you've got two books, and I'll be honest with you, I have not read them yet. I want to read them. I will hope maybe you can send me a couple of copies. I'd love to read it.
Oh yeah.
But tell the audience about your two books and how it all came about.
Okay, well, I first should mention that I have a third one on the way. It's coming out in the spring, and I'll mention that at the end. Okay. But the two books I wrote, the first one was called Living in King's Life, and that was a diary of a minor league baseball team. I worked in Kalamazoo, Michigan, with the Kalamazoo Kings for a couple of years, and I read a book a long time ago called The Bronx Zoo by Sparky Lyle. It was a book about the 1978 Yankees, and that was like a diary of a season from day to day. And so that's what this is. But I wanted to give the reader a real sense of what it's like in minor league baseball, the behind the scenes stuff that we broadcasters see and experience, the long bus rides, the hotel, staying in hotels, the day by day life of a baseball broadcaster. And let's face it, Pete, there's not a lot of books out there about minor league baseball. So I thought there'd be a market for it, a niche for it. And that's what the book entails. So it was written from when I got to Kalamazoo, Michigan, after the 16-hour drive from Boston, and it goes right through the end of the regular season. So you learn about the personalities and the routines in minor league baseball. So that's Living a King's Life. The second one is called Breakaway Wisdom, which was a lot of fun to write. And I had a chance. That was completed over the course of an entire college hockey season. I went around and interviewed each of the coaches of Hockey East, and I gave them a topic related to success. And I interviewed them all, and I asked them to talk about what that particular concept means to them, both on a professional level and a personal level. So there's a lot of big names in that book. You got Jack Parker in there. You got Jerry York in there. You got Dick Umili in there, Mark Dennehy. And so there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of cool information in there. And I added a chapter recently with UConn's Mike Cavanaugh to kind of update the book and keep it fresh. So basically, to answer your question, how long does it take to write the book? It took me several months for each, because it was the course of an entire season. The publishing process, that's a whole different story. You have to reach out to the publisher of your choice, and then it takes months, right? You have to send in the manuscript. It gets edited. You go back and forth with the editing department, and then they do the cover design, and then they do the press releases. So, it takes several months to complete that whole process, and it's very cost intensive. But the next book I have coming out is kind of like a memoir. I'm approaching my 60th birthday and 30 years in the booth, so I wanted to do kind of a memoir of, the life lessons I've learned from, myself. From my family and my time in the broadcast booth. So that one's called Living on Air, and that's going to be coming out in the spring.
Between both books, can you share an anecdote? What's the funniest or goofiest thing that ever happened to you so far in your broadcast career, on and off the air?
The goofiest thing? Wow. Well, from my hockey perspective, there's a couple of things. We were stranded one night in Chicago when we were trying to fly home. We were playing Notre Dame out there. Notre Dame used to be in Hockey East, and we went out there, and due to a weather delay, we had to stay overnight because lightning was hitting the airports there. So we had to, and then we had fire alarms go off in the middle of a game twice, once against Vermont and once against BU in the playoffs. So that was crazy. Baseball, I'll tell you, the craziest thing that happened to me in baseball was I had a chance to interview George the Animal Steele on a broadcast once.
Wow. Yeah.
The former wrestler. Yep. We had one of those, in minor league baseball, you have those WWE type nights where you bring in a wrestler, and George came on the air. And I also had Doug Flutie on with me as well. So, I could write a book, right? I could write a book on these, these experiences. Yeah. But that's why I love sports so much, Pete. There's always something that, there's a chance you'll see something you've never seen before. So that's what kind of drags you in.
I think the first time I remember I met you in person, and we were doing a WEI. Glenn was off. I was hosting that day with Larry Johnson. Oh, no. with Steve Buckley
Yeah.
and the late great Dick Raditz, and we were at the Lasher Field, the Lasher Park, which was designed by the same people who did Camden Yards. So it was like a mini Camden Yards, and you were broadcasting, or you were about to be broadcasting. We did our show, from 2 to 6, and then Buck and I got to take batting practice.
Yeah.
A little bit. But then, if I'm not mistaken, so I'm up doing the show. We start around 3 o'clock or whatever, whenever the Sprinters came out and did their own batting practice.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know Tewksbury all that well. I mean, former Red Sox pitcher, but he was also the team psychologist, right? If I remember correctly, wasn't he?
I'm trying to think back.
But he was throwing batting practice, and we're doing the show, and all of a sudden, the monster, Dick Raditz, yells out, "Pete, Duck," and Tewksbury fires a ball from the mound up to the broadcast booth where we are. Nearly takes my head off.
Yeah.
Pete, yeah. Thanks, Bob. Great. I'll never forget that. That was funny.
You mentioned Dick, and he was the pitching coach for the North Shore Spirit when I was.
That's right. Yeah.
He was there for a couple of years, and then he passed away right before I got hired there.
Yeah.
Dick, unfortunately, he had an accident in his home in Easton, and he passed away. But I had heard some great stories about Dick.
Oh.
The one thing I remember is that typically in minor league baseball, the coaches sit up front of the bus and the players are in the back. Dick would always sit in the back, and he was all about the stories.
Oh my God, he was amazing. And we worked with him so many times on the big show, and he filled in a lot on back in the day with Craig Mustard and Larry Johnson. They used to call the show The Teacher, The Preacher, and the Creature.
I remember.
That was great. I mean, The Teacher, The Preacher, and the Creature. It was absolutely must-have. Yeah, Dick was one of a kind as far as stories go. Unbelievable. I mean, one of the reasons I wanted to get in the business to begin with was to do radio play-by-play, particularly hockey or baseball. But I mean, I thought I was going to pursue baseball. And the other part I want to get into is people have this misconception sometimes of how much broadcasters make, particularly in minor league sports. And I can tell you this, two things. One, I was working at my second job was at WKRI in West Warwick, Rhode Island.
Okay.
The great John Parenti was my mentor there and everything else. Now, we carried Pawtucket Red Sox games at the time where Gary Cohn was doing the games. So then it got, then he's going to leave and take the job with the Mets, which he still has to this day.
Yep.
So they had an opening, and I forget who the other guy was, but they were going to have two people, and Ben Mondor, the late great Ben Mondor, who was owned the franchise and all that stuff. So anyway, I was one of the finalists. They tell me I'm going to get the gig to be the second man, color man, and then maybe 2 innings at most play-by-play. I didn't care. I was 21 at the time. I was ecstatic. And the salary then was $14,200 for that, included, expenses and all of that. So I didn't care. It could have been 4 cents, and I would have taken it.
Yeah.
Turns out 2 nights before we're supposed to go to Scranton, I get a call that they don't have enough in the budget to pay 2 people, so they're only paying 1, and then I got left out. And that was okay. I was a little heartbroken, but that was okay. But the other thing, too, I remember Don Orsillo, our friend who's in San Diego now, and I think he did the Pittsfield Mets. I think that they still had a team there in Massachusetts, the Pittsfield Mets. I sent a tape there also way back. It was 89 or 90. The salary for that gig was $8,000.
Yeah.
Plus travel expenses. So people, you're in Kalamazoo. I mean, it's not like you're sitting there raking in the cash or anything like that. And in fact, I'm sure for the amount of work you had to do, you were well underpaid, correct?
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's the nature of the business. You don't really start making the big bucks until you get up, even the minor leagues, and then of course the majors. But yeah, I mean, there's for the amount of Pete, you're right. For the amount of work you do, the pay is not commensurate.
You have to do a lot of PR work in Kalamazoo too. I know a lot of teams that the play-by-play guy. A lot of times in minor league sports has to do the public relations stuff as well.
Yeah, we tend to call it media relations, in that sphere. Yeah, but you wind up doing a lot more work. I did game notes and press releases and things like that. And in Florence, that was similar in that I had a lot more responsibility in Kentucky that one year I was there. So I mean, I tell young broadcasters all the time that ask me, it's not glamorous. I mean, when you get out of college, you're not going to go straight to Nesson. You're not going to go straight to ESPN. You got to pay your dues and work your way up the ladder. And that's why I'm so grateful when I see guys that have paid their dues for years start to get rewarded. Guys like Ryan Johnston, who's now the Bruins radio voice.
Great guy.
He's been on the cusp of getting that NHL Bruins.
Did you try to get that gig?
I put in for it, but realistically, they're looking for people with like AHL experience or NHL experience. So, I mean, you have to do your due diligence and put in for it. But there's a lot of people like Ryan who have paid their dues for years, and I couldn't be happier for him. He's doing a great job over there.
That's great. Well, you're such a classy guy. So when what's Lowell's schedule like this week? And what's your schedule like? It must be doing the college hockey thing, at least for the regular season, and obviously Hockey East tournament, and and hopefully they'll get to the postseason as well. But so you're just living and breathing Hockey East, right? Almost every day.
Well, it's my passion, Pete. And in terms of what's coming up, we've got UConn coming to town for 2 games this weekend, and then we get to go up to Lake Placid, New York, which is a city with great hockey culture and history. Of course, the Olympics back in '80. So, one of the reasons I took this job was because it gives me the ability to travel once again, and I missed it. And so we have a few great trips coming up. We're going to Palm Springs in January, heading out to California for a couple of games in a tournament out there.
Up there.
It's going to be a tournament. It's the Coachella tournament, which is it's going to be in an AHL venue. We're playing Michigan Tech the first night, and then we'll play either Holy Cross or Nebraska Omaha the second night. So, I haven't been on a plane to go on a hockey trip since 2000 and
and now you're going 3,000 miles.
Hey, it's great. I miss the travel. I have a big wall map at home. I put a pin every place I visit a new place, and I haven't put a pin in 5 years. So I was thinking about that, and I really wanted the opportunity to travel again. So very happy to have that opportunity, Pete.
Well, John, I'm so glad we got to do this. This was a lot of fun. Big O's coming up from Arizona at the bottom of the hour, and they're going to probably have to call him and wake him up because he's old and he falls asleep. But I'm sure I know he knows where you are and has a tremendous amount of respect for you. I'm so glad we got to do this. And we're going to do this again throughout the college hockey season because you're in touch with everybody in Hockey East, and we have a lot of hockey fans down here. And believe it or not, Southwest Florida is pretty much a hockey hotbed. It really is. With the 3-time defending Kelly Cup champion Florida Everblades, they're playing full house every night, almost 8,000 fans every single night. And we got a lot of college hockey fans down here as well as Tampa Bay Lightning fans and Florida Panther fans too. And a lot of Bruins fans also who stink right now. But John, you don't. You're the best. Thank you so much. And we'll talk again soon.
Pete, the pleasure was distinctly mine. And as I said, I listened to you and Glenn for many, many years, and you entertain me on a daily basis. I'm very grateful for that. I'm very grateful to have the opportunity to come on. And please tell Glenn I said hello. He's terrific, as are you.
And we'll do this again sooner rather than later. This was a lot of fun. Thanks so much, and best of luck with the books. Oh, how can people get them, by the way? How can people get the books?
Well, you can buy them anywhere books are sold, but the easiest way is to just go right on my website, which is johnrleahy.com. There's a section where you can go right where the books are, and there's a link. Bing, bang, it couldn't be easier.
Sweet. And I will retweet that for you as well. Thanks so much, John. All the best. We'll talk soon.
Pete, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you, sir. Always. John Leahy right there, voice, play-by-play voice of the UMass Lowell Riverhawks and longtime voice in college hockey. Everybody knows him, and baseball play-by-play as well, formerly the Spinners. All right, quick break. See if Glenn wakes up, and we'll talk to him coming up from Arizona Live. We got a lot to discuss, not just sports. I know he's going to have some thoughts on the passing of the late, great Larry Johnson as well. All part of the Pete Sheppard Show here on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Jim and the Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our 2nd location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish, now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu. Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it gardenia. It's pronounced Chardonnay.
Phil Castanetti, Sports World in Saugus, Massachusetts, is New England's place to buy or sell the finest in sports memorabilia. For over 35 years, Sports World has offered the finest in sports collectibles. Last month, you might remember Tim Thomas, legendary Bruins goalie, returned on October 5th. What a turnout it was. And now a new event coming up. On Saturday, November 30th, it's Willie O'Ree. Yes, the original Jackie Robinson of the National Hockey League. He'll be signing autographs to the public, $25 each. There'll be photos, pucks, and cards available. Phone orders are welcome. Just call 781-233-7222 for more information. Sports World in Saugus. Be there. Hey, everybody. It's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuzio and Ace Technology Advisors.
Ion Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, iontp.com. Ion Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Ion Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
To some people, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much. But that's not necessarily true. By 6 months, they're combining vowels and consonants. By 9 months, they're trying out different kinds of sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on some meaning. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Early screening and intervention can make a lifetime of difference and unlock a world of possibilities. Take the first step at autismspeaks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
The following is made possible by Dad.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling all over it.
The dad joke. Corny, grown-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
Why do you have to be careful when it's raining cats and dogs? Because you might step in a poodle.
And kids that spend more time with their dads grow up to be smarter, more successful.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding.
And, with any luck, funnier adults.
Why didn't the skeleton go to the dance? Because he didn't have any body to go with.
Dad jokes rule. So take a moment to make a moment and give your kid a laugh. It's as easy as going to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
That's really funny.
Don't spaz out because your team lost. Let Pete do it for you. Now, back to the Pete Sheppard Show.
Welcome back.
Yeah, see, I have all this stuff planned, and then the person that's supposed to be there will probably be coming on in 2 seconds, meaning Big O Glenn, or there he is. I'm going to start it again. Hang on, Glenn. You're 5 seconds late. Had this all for you. You know, like this has never been done in radio history, playing Welcome Back Carter to somebody that you work with.
Welcome back.
Wow.
So now
I can see the goosebumps already.
So the show is devolved into now you're playing music? Is that what you're doing?
Well, coming back from break, Glenn.
Oh, break for break.
That's how it is.
How are you, Pete?
I'm great, Glenn. How are you, the Big O?
See you on the beach today. That's nice.
Always on the beach, yep. As you're always in the desert.
Yeah.
You're always in the desert. But it's a dry heat. I have a humid. Actually, it's very, very pleasant today. It's sort of is up where you are. It's 74 degrees.
Cold. It's been very cold. We've been 50s and 60s. Very cold here. Very disappointed. I think I'm flying to Boston to get some warmth.
A couple things right out the before we get into sports. Just had John Leahy on. He said to say hello, and he's got a couple of books going on. A great college hockey voice. So he was talking, and obviously I found out a couple hours ago through Boston Sports Radio Watch that our good friend Larry Johnson passed away at the age of 75. Yep. He had called me. We had played phone tag just a couple of months ago about this, that, and the other thing. And he didn't have your number, or you had a new phone, whatever it was. And we kept playing phone tag. But I didn't know he was ill, but we lost a great one in Larry Johnson, and I know how much not only did he mean to me and the show, but I know you had an extra special connection as well at one point, which I didn't want to divulge to anybody unless you wanted to do it. But Larry was one of the best, and I don't ever remember Larry ever saying anything bad about anybody ever, ever.
No, he never had a bad word. If he you could tell if he didn't like somebody, he would say nothing about that person. You're absolutely correct. What a wonderful, wonderful man. And so sorry to hear the news. I heard the news late last night. Somebody called me up and said that Larry had passed away. And I knew he was sick, Pete. I had the same problem you had connecting with him because he had some health problems. Yeah. And he was at a nursing home when he passed away. And so there was some difficulty in trying to communicate with him. And he had been struggling, I think, for the last couple of years, because the last time I did talk to him, he was still having some issues. But Larry, he'd say, no, I'm fine. And you could tell by talking to him that he just wasn't the same guy. But for those people that don't know in your audience, he was one of America's great sports cartoonists.
Yes.
He worked for years with the Boston Globe, and then he worked with the National, if anybody remembers the National, which was, something brand new. We're going to go coast to coast and put a sports publication out there that's coming out on a daily basis. And he was a sports cartoonist for that. I've got a couple of pieces of his work on my walls here because he just was so expressive in the way he dealt. So one time I did actually see the rest of his collection, and I was just amazed. There were no sports cartoons. It was like...
these dramatic paintings. I've seen some. I mean, really, like wow.
Whoa, where are these coming from?
Why they don't move? Mona Lisa got nothing on Larry.
Exactly. I said, why don't you go out and sell these? What are you doing with them all sitting here in your garage? And but you're right. He was a great guy. He was an on-air broadcaster with a show that you and I were involved in for many years in Boston, and he's sorely going to be missed.
I was telling people about the weekend show he did for years, the teacher, the preacher, and the creature. And then later on with Dick Raditz, the late, great Dick Raditz, the teacher, the preacher, and the creature, one of the great radio show names of all time.
Yep, no question about it. No question.
He'll be missed. And I still have some of the cartoons that he made of you and I together on on pint glasses. That I still have somewhere tucked away because I don't want to break them.
Well, if you remember when we started the show, we started the big show, before you had got there, he was doing a daily cartoon strip. The old days we had cartoon strips. You don't see many of them anymore. But he would do it based on the show. And it would be our marketing, our promotion to get our show going is for him to do this daily cartoon and build up characters that were on the show. And he was great at it.
He was. And then the company at the time, Wise then, put all of our pictures up on the big broadcasting van. So we used to get seen all, and then of course people left and got fired here and there, and they started painting.
And now they hide the cartoons.
But for many years, it was our mugs and the whole station. Everybody that was on air from 6 in the morning until 6 at night was on that van, and it was great. It was all Larry Johnson caricatures of us. It was fantastic. It really, really was something special. Something special.
One time he said he had you and I, and you obviously are taller than I am, and he had us like in real height. And so I said to him, I said, It doesn't make that much of a difference, but do we have to be that much different? Because it's almost like you're exaggerating. And he says to me, I am exaggerating. That's what a cartoonist does. They exaggerate. So he sends me about a couple hours later, he sends me a new one. He's got me like 3 times the size of you. And he goes, this is the new one. We'll go with this one.
And then there was one we went like, I had my arm on your shoulder.
Yes.
And then he did one, our buddy Bill Burr. I remember one time I said, I forget what I said, what we were talking about. I was like, come nestle in the bowels of my bosom. And then the next thing I know, the next day he's got a cartoon of me like a giant holding Bill Burr to my bosom. And it was just absolutely hysterical.
A guy, by the way, that got a few weekend shifts until they found out that he was having a little difficulty because instead of giving the station phone number, he was giving his home phone number. Remember that? He was giving his home phone number. Bill Burt was.
Yes.
Nice guy, too. Great guy. By the way, his son is high up in the Yankees organization.
I know.
He's a third baseman, I think.
Shortstop,
really good.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, really good baseball player. He's in the Yankee organization.
Twice this year, he made Sports Center highlights for top plays.
Yeah.
So, no, I Bill Bird on like once a month, sometimes twice a month.
Good
guy. Of course, a couple of times he's been driving. Angel will tell you he's been driving, looking at the phone while he's driving. And,
that doesn't surprise me.
That didn't work out too well. A couple of times we lost connection. But anyway.
As I said, he's a wonderful guy with quirks. Okay, He's got some quirks.
Yeah, he does. All right, let's get into the sports scene here. I'm trying to think where I should. Let's just start with the most recent. I can't stand it.
You don't want to. Have you talked to any Bruins this morning?
No, I went off. I already went off on them.
When's Montgomery get fired?
It's got to be sooner rather than later.
They don't want to play for him, right? Is that what you're seeing?
I'm so tired of coming on this show every other day, it seems, to talk about humiliating losses. I don't mind losing games.
I've never seen this.
Yeah, humiliated. They give up more shorthanded goals than they score. It's absolutely unbelievable.
No power play.
No special teams they suck.
And people will turn on Swayman if he doesn't perform because he held out and he got the money and they got to worry about that. I think they're a mess. I watch them every once in a while. I don't see every game. I did watch a little bit of last night's game, and I was like, they just don't want to be there. They just don't want to be. You can just tell when a team has lost it,
They got to make a change. They've tuned him out. There's no question about it. And then he starts spewing that bullshit about, when I was in Dallas, we started 1-8-1, right. And then I played the clip this morning. But we went 13-4-1 after that. And
he knows it.
Oh, come on.
He knows it. He knows he's toast. He does. All right, I'm sorry. I took over your show, and I apologize.
No,
you didn't. It's your show.
No, you didn't take over anything. I asked you questions. So we both in agreement that coaching there. Let's switch over before we get to Celtics in Cleveland, which I cannot wait for tonight. It's going to be fantastic. But I want to get into the Patriots. And once again, offensively, I'm pretty happy with the progression. The fumble sucked. The interception at the end, because I thought the way it was on TV, Glenn, I don't know if you felt about it, I thought Pop Douglas was gone. I mean, if that throw was complete, there's nobody near him. He's gone for a touchdown. There was miscommunication. I think Pop ran the wrong route. But we'll get back to that in a second. I don't understand how you can allow Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, both of them, to have like 227 yards combined and 3 touchdowns without any double teaming at all of either one of those guys. We all
never made adjustments.
Always took one of the best. I'm not saying you're going to take both of them away. Where's Gonzalez shot? Why isn't there a double team on at least one of these guys? You get beat by a tight end or a backup tight end or the running back against that team. All right, I can live with that. But when both guys go off on you and there's no defensive adjustments again, man, that sucks. It sucks. And that's not Gerard Mayo.
I never thought I would say this during the course of this season, the 2024 season. Their offense is better than their defense.
Agreed.
I never, ever thought I would say that. Now, the offense has got all sorts of issues. Offensive line, they have nobody that is a guarantee with their receivers. And, Hunter Henry may be the only guy that you can depend on at any given time. It's all the quarterback, which tells me that they have great things in their future because it looks like they've found a quarterback. Now, hopefully over the next 2 or 3 years as they're trying to build everything else, they don't destroy the poor kid, okay, which is possible. But you're right. Defensively, they are nothing. They're a shell of themselves from a year ago. And I don't understand you don't make adjustments. Nacua is going off, okay? He's getting,
chunk plays.
It's unbelievable. And nothing changes. You don't sit there and say, okay, not working, guys. I know we worked on it all week. We thought this would work. It doesn't work. Let's change up. They're not doing any of that, Pete. And to me, I still worry about this coaching staff from top to bottom.
Yeah.
You know, I think Alex Van Pelt, if you look at it, the first 15 plays, scripted plays, are pretty good. They're not bad. Okay, I really don't have any flaws with them. Then suddenly the defense makes some adjustments and changes. And what do? Nothing. You stick with what you were working on all week long. So I'm not sure they have what Bill Belichick and some members of his staff had over the years, and that is, okay, we'll make adjustments on the fly. And I'm not talking about halftime. I'm talking about making them in the first quarter when suddenly you see something out of the team you're playing that is nothing like what you saw
series
on
by
tape.
series.
Right.
That's the way
Right.
Bill uses series by series. You can have all the scripted plays you want. If all of a sudden after 8 plays, you're like, they ain't working.
Yeah.
We got to do something different. I mean, they got it. And it's too bad because you look at this at least 3 or 4 games this year, like it is in the NFL in general. They're like one play away from despite everything. And then the stat that came out, and before going into Sunday's game, I mean, since Drake May took over, they're like one of the top 5 teams to score in the red zone, which blew my mind when I saw that. I mean, it's been an amazing, considering what they don't have at receiver. Still some potential with a couple of guys, but what they don't have.
And the running game hasn't been great either, Pete.
No.
Maybe that's the offensive line. I don't know. Maybe it's Stevenson. He has the fumbleitis, has trouble holding onto the ball. But the thing that I really loved about Drake May in this game, and I think it was by design, they probably said to him after last week, hey, listen, kid, I know the best play we've got in our playbook right now is when everything else breaks down and you just take off and you get 14 or 15 yards.
Yep.
You're going to get killed doing that, okay? You can't do that anymore. Stay in the pocket. We've got to figure this thing out. He wasn't running in this game on Sunday, and that's what I loved about him. He can do that every once in a while. We see Josh Allen do it, maybe too often.
Well, he's on a different level. That's
right, no question. But I think Drake May has some of the skill level that you see with Allen and even Justin Herbert. I think those guys, I think he's got some of that. I think his biggest problem right now is he's 22. He's raw, and he still is not there. And as you said, he doesn't have the weapons to really deal with it. But what I loved about that game was that was a quarterback game playing in the pocket, sitting there and getting a blitz, getting a pass rush, getting pressure, and sitting there and saying, okay, wait a minute, I'm going to make it work, and going through his progressions as opposed to saying, oh, screw it, I'm just going to tuck it and run. And that was a great sign for me. That was the best game I've seen him play yet.
No question. I think he keeps getting better and better. Like you said, he scrambled when he had to. He had 27 yards, I think, but 16 came on one of them, I believe. And it was a great scramble. And he knows how to slide usually. And but we'll just see. And hopefully,
you were a great slider in your day. I remember. Great slider.
Absolutely, absolutely. Always.
Does your audience know that you were a diver?
Yep, I've shown the pictures. Yeah.
Have you shown them the pictures of diving?
Yeah.
Right.
Very.
Did they notice that there was no water in the pool?
No, they kicked me off of. No on Facebook, the way some social media things now, they kick you off thinking it's softcore porn because I was wearing a Speedo.
It was a little grotesque. I must tell you, that picture was a little grotesque.
That was awesome. It was, Hey, I was. You could see I was thin.
You were thin.
Let's move on to the anti-Bruins and let's look at football for a second. I just don't. I keep hearing the Bill Belichick to Dallas, and obviously Jacksonville. The rumors come up hot, and I can understand that. Him working with Bulky, maybe Bulky gets. I can understand that situation, Jacksonville. But for the life of me, I cannot ever see Bill going and coach the Dallas Cowboys as long as Jerry Jones is in charge, despite the mutual feelings and that they always have for each other and all the positive things. Can we just stop this nonsense that Bill would ever go coach the Dallas Cowboys? Jacksonville, I could see. New Orleans, I could see. The Raiders, that'll be interesting if Tom lures him over there. If any of this comes to fruition. Dallas, to me, is at the bottom of the list. No way in hell he goes to coach the Cowboys, right?
So, yeah, I think the most important thing with Bill when trying to determine where he's going is not necessarily the personnel people that are in there, because Bill will fight for total control, and he'll either have control over those personnel people or those personnel people will be gone. Not that he'll be doing all the work, but he'll be making the final decisions. They'll be doing the work. He'll be making the final decisions. It's all based on ownership. And I think, though, you're right, he's got a relationship with Jerry Jones, and he likes Jerry Jones. I think he likes him from afar. I don't think he would like to work for Jerry Jones because I think he knows that between Jerry and his son, they're going to get involved in their fingers in on everything.
Yeah.
And we all know when you start out a coaching situation like that, things don't go necessarily well early on. It's not like, oh my God, Bill Belichick's there and we're suddenly a Super Bowl contending team. You're going to go through an awful lot. When you start losing those games, that's when you get the ownership that starts knocking on your door and saying, we need to have a little talk here, okay? Bill doesn't stand for that. We all know that. That is not the way he operates. And he will tell the owner it's a process. Understand it's going to take time. I don't have this. I don't have that. He'll communicate with the owner, but he's not going to bow down and go to the owner's wishes because the owner suddenly has empty seats and the owner's sitting there saying, you got to play this kid at quarterback. You got to play this kid because the fans love him. No, well, put him on with the fan club. Let him go speak on their Tuesday luncheons, okay? Exactly. We're not doing it on the football field. So I'm with you, and I think he was doing last night's game, and I think some of the comments that he made were pretty obvious about the Cowboys and what they lack right now. And it's amazing because you can look, there's a lot of talent out there. And granted, they're on a backup quarterback right now. There's a lot of talent on that team, and they don't play anywhere close to that talent level. And he may look at that and say, oh, that's a good fit. But then he's going to look at the owner and say, but the owner's going to be the one picking, the groceries. And that's not for me. So I'm with you. The Jacksonville one is a little strange. I do get the connection.
I think Shad Khan's going to roll out the red carpet, blue carpet, yellow carpet.
Oh, I think he'll give him total. Yeah, I think he'll give him total authority. I think there's no question about that. It's just it's a strange franchise. The fan base is a little different. I mean, every time they look like they're going to become legit, something happens and they take two steps back. And Bill may have done some legwork and figured out why that happens. I don't know what he thinks of the quarterback, and Lawrence is out now for the year, but he's a guy that you're paying an awful lot of money. He's your guy. Does Bill think that, this guy's just toast, even though he was the number one pick and everybody thought, oh my God, he's a can't miss candidate. Well, so there are a lot of questions that go into it. I do think Bill's going to coach next year though. And I think they're going to be a few opportunities out there.
I agree. And the Raiders might be another one. And because basically you're hearing that creepy Mark Davis has given Brady kind of carte blanche. I don't know how true it is. You hear stories that Brady's going to have a big influence on who they get as a head coach.
When does he study for his Fox work on Sunday? If he's running the Raiders, because he can't talk to anybody.
No, he can't criticize the referees.
Well, they never make a mistake, Pete. No, you don't have to worry about that. That's not an issue. That's something that's overblown. I still don't understand that whole connection. And if that does happen, if Belichick goes there, I mean, want to see Robert Kraft's head blow up? I mean, it's just, oh my God. And wow. And then if that happens, does Brady suddenly have to take this thing seriously and maybe leave the Fox job? I don't know. He's still going to do the Fox job?
How? I don't know how he can.
And they're paying him $350 million or whatever over a 10-year period for it?
$35 million a year. I mean, that's tough to pass up. Yeah, but if you had to hypothesize here, and I'll throw Dallas in. Dallas, the Raiders, Jacksonville, I'll throw New Orleans in there, and maybe even the Bears. Because Eberflus I can't stand him as a coach anyway. He's lucky he's still there. He won't be there much longer, really. But just those five right there, what do you gut feeling if he does want to come back to coaching any one of those teams? You think that he'd have at the top of the list?
I wouldn't eliminate Philadelphia. I think the Eagles this year have got to win it. Get to the Super Bowl.
Angels doing backflips.
Okay, they got to win the Super Bowl, or at least get there, right? And if they don't, I think that's a disappointment. Does Laurie, I think he's got a relationship with Bill too. Yep. Does he reach out and say, hey, Bill, would you like to come to Philadelphia? It's a lot like Boston. People love you and they hate you, and they love and they hate their teams. Very similar environment. He's got a lot of players there. He's got personnel on both sides of the ball. I don't know. I think we have to play it out, Pete, because there are teams that you look at now that you don't look at now that I think are going to be disappointing in the end because their expectations were so high. Jacksonville, there's no question there's an issue there, okay? Dallas, no doubt there's an issue there. And Jerry Jones, I guess, announced after the game last night, he's not making a coaching change during the season. So, he's probably going to, at the end of the season, call up Bill and see if Bill would be interested.
I hope Deion Sanders ends up in Dallas and takes his. I don't know.
Ooh, that's another one. That's another one too, because you would look at it 6 months ago and say no way, but Deion's having some real success. Though he's got a tough schedule the rest of the way, but he may be looking at it and saying, hey, I'm going to lose my kid. I'm going to lose at least one of them, and I'm going to lose Hunter, and maybe this is the time to get out and get a big opportunity with a pro team. That's a good one. I never didn't think of that one.
But I love the Philadelphia one. We actually brought that one up too. But Sirianni, at least he actually outcoached Dan Quinn last week. I mean, he did. He kicked field goals when he normally was going for fourth down. So at least there's a progression. But if they ever got to the NFC Championship, Glenn, and lost to the Lions, 40-32 or something like that, you still think he'd get fired?
Yes.
Really?
He's been there long enough, and the expectations are a lot different. You've been in one of those towns for years where the expectations are you get to the championship game, you get to the championship finals or whatever. If you don't, it's a disappointment. You didn't do what you were supposed to do. And there's a difference of that versus Jacksonville is just thrilled if they can get into the playoffs, okay? Mm-hmm. Just get us into the playoffs.
Yeah.
So and so there's a different way that I think you judge those franchises. And again, does the owner have patience? Because the ownerships that have had patience over the years, New England had patience for years with Bill Belichick. You can look at the Rooneys and what they did in Pittsburgh and the patience that they showed with 3 different coaches. They've only had 3 in my lifetime.
Yeah.
So when you look at that, those are the franchises that usually have an awful lot of success. These other franchises, it's all emotion. It's all emotion, and they freak out.
How much are you looking forward to? I'm sure, like I am tonight, this could be a possible preview of the Eastern Conference Finals.
I don't care about that. I don't care about that, Pete. This is the NBA Cup, okay? It's all about the freaking
I have
cup.
to wear my sunglasses tonight for that hideous green floor again.
God,
Jesus. It's not as bad as the Smurf turf in Philadelphia, but Jesus, God Almighty!
Listen, I've watched all these games. I watch the NBA, as you know, religiously, and I watch all these games. And I will tell you this. It's very simple. If you look, it's the same pattern on every one of the courts, but they all go with different colors. Yeah. The Golden State Warriors made the smartest decision because they went with like a light beige or tan court. They have all the same markings as all of these other courts, but you can see the players when they're moving and everything looks perfectly clear. That's all they had to do. Do light colors for everyone, and then, highlight some green on the court or red for the Cavaliers. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
they could have done that. But if the Celtics lose tonight, they're out of the cup. I just want you to know that.
But real quick, how about the Golden State game last night? We had 5 or 6 offensive rebounds in the last 30 seconds, and they tried to get the ball to Curry for 6 times. They couldn't do it. That was a wild finish last night as well. Yeah. But this game, it's a regular season game. The Celtics have had a bad habit, even the last couple. It played down to the level of competition. I think you quoted sleepwalking through Toronto, and then Tatum hits it again. But I don't think we're going to see that tonight. And Drew Holiday's supposed to be back playing tonight as well. I think we're going to see a very great. I think it's going to be a hell of a matchup tonight between these two teams, and Mitchell and Garland playing the way they are, and Tatum and Brown and our guys and everybody. I can't wait for this game. I'm expecting this to be a buzzer beater right down to the wire.
I hope so, but I would say this, that Cleveland looks at it the same way. They rested Mitchell in the last game against Charlotte. Yeah. They didn't play him. So they obviously are looking at this game. I think what we've seen with the Celtics, because I think they're going to be eventually, because I don't think they're there yet, I think they're going to be better than last year's team. I think they have a lot more depth. Peyton Pritchett now is a key guy coming off the bench to give you instant offense. Cater, they have another athletic big. He's a big athletic big. I don't like him one-on-one defensively. You saw him with Pirtle the other night, and he had real difficulty one-on-one defense. But he gives you a different element of what you already have out there. And I think what that does is it kind of changes up what the other team can do with you. But I think offensively they've been fine. defensively is where they've lacked. And I agree with you. I think there are nights they sit there and say, oh, shit, do we really have to play defense tonight? Look who we're playing.
Yeah,
The team's
exactly.
2-11. Do we really have to? And they have a real letdown. And then they maybe wake up in the last 3 minutes of the game because they know they're that good and they can win those games. So I'm saying this about even games that they've won this year, that I've noticed that they have had real letdowns on defense. And I'm with you. I don't think they have it tonight because, damn it, the NBA Cup is at stake.
This time of
and you don't think that every one of those players wants to be able to do the same thing that LeBron James did last year back in November, where he was able to say, I am an NBA Cup champion, baby. Take that cup everywhere. Hang the banner up there. This is it. They want that cup, and you know it, Pete. They want it.
How do you think defensively they're going to handle Mitchell tonight? You think it'll be maybe Drew Holiday to start, and there'll just be a rotation of guys, you think?
I think their whole game is constantly switching and doubling or stunting on the shooters. And so you're right. They've got three guys that can really score. Actually, Cleveland, the one thing, and I've seen them a few times this year, their bench looks better. They're better shooting threes off the bench. So they have some other guys that can score. They don't get as big a drop-off when they go to the bench as they did before. Actually, I've seen them have some interesting spurts. But I think what they do with Mitchell, again, he's so wily. You got to be careful. I think they put single coverage on him, probably Holiday on him. And then when he touches the ball, you'll see somebody slide over, and you'll see they won't give him that lane. They just won't give him that lane. And I think they are as good a defensive team when they're playing their game in switching as any team I've ever seen. And I mean that. Any team I've ever seen, because everybody can guard everybody. I saw Charles Barkley the other night. He was talking about a switch, and he was talking about a Holiday. And he said, and I can't remember the big that he switched on, and he said, he shouldn't be able to guard that guy. He says, he's 6'1". Holiday's 6'1". And I'm sitting there going, no, he's not, Charles. No. He's about your height. He's like 6'4.5". He's your height. Charles is like 6'4.5".
Yeah.
And I said, he's your height. I mean, that was amazing to hear Charles say it, but Charles can get away with it. Charles can say it. You and I say it, and you know, X lights up, and you are an idiot. You don't know anything. Charles can say anything, and people will sit there. So I'm happy they're coming back next year on ESPN, though. I'm happy.
Oh yeah, I am too. Actually, best studio show, post game, halftime ever. Before I let you, I want to talk about one other team real quick, the Philadelphia 76ers, and I was really hoping that they would compete. And
is Angel a fan of the Sixers too?
Well, yeah, yes, he is.
I'm sure he's crushed right
beginning of the season, I'm like, okay, let's hopefully Embiid can stay reasonably healthy. This, that, and the other thing. There was nothing going to be better than a Boston, Philadelphia Eastern Conference Finals. I think it would be terrific, great for basketball, bring back some old school stuff. And they suck when he plays. They suck when he doesn't play. And Nick Nurse, who I believe was down here in Fort Myers, maybe here, unfortunately, sooner rather than later, that team cannot get out of its own way. They suck. Again, last night, they're up by 19 points in Miami, and then they lost by, 17 points. Unbelievable. First of all year to do that.
Pete, if I had told you before the season began that the bottom of the Eastern Conference standings when we're at November 19th, you would find both Philadelphia and Milwaukee down. And I know they pulled one out last night. Milwaukee did, but barely. Right? They were down by 7, like a minute and a half left.
Yes. The inbounding pass at the end. Houston threw. Jeez.
Anyway. So if I had told you they would be at the bottom of the Eastern Conference, you'd sit there and say, well, Giannis has been out for the entire time, right? And Embiid's not playing at all. Yeah. The Sixers might have made a major mistake in getting Paul George, because they're finding out the same thing the Clippers found out, and that is that he does get nagging injuries. Unfortunately, they had him and Leonard out there in L.A. with constant injuries. They weren't dependable, okay? Their attendance was not great, so you never knew what you were going to get. And when you don't have that, you can't even practice with those guys. So different guys, and your team changes, especially when it happens at the beginning of the season. The team looks totally different out there. Now, you've got an Embiid problem. One, he's still out of shape.
Yep.
2, he's bitching at everybody. I think what you're going to end up with before the season is done is Embiid's going to want out, and I think Giannis might want out as well.
I think so.
And then you're going to get a team because you're not going to get a great team right now, but how about a team like Houston that is really playing well with a lot of young players and one veteran, Van Vliet. And how about them working out a deal? They got a lot of talented young players. They could deal to you for somebody like Giannis or Embiid. I would watch for something like that because I just don't see how this continues. How can Philadelphia not make the playoffs? Is that possible?
Glenn, they're done. They're not making the playoffs. They're not making it.
It's possible.
Oh, Angel has something to say. Go ahead, Angel.
And Maxi's been hurt too, right, Angel? He's had problems.
He's been hurt. He didn't play last night either.
He's been hurt because he's been carrying a team since the beginning of the season.
He has been.
You had Embiid, who decided to go, Summer Olympics. He wanted to win his medal. Okay, big deal. You got it. Then you said you lost weight because I have to get healthier. This is going to be good for me. Trust the process. Right. And it's been nothing but just a sham, the way you look at it. So maybe he's waiting until the new stadium is built down by 5th and Market to finally do something about it. But the other thing I wanted to touch on real quick too, Glenn, is you have mentioned the love-hate that we have in Philly with our coaches.
Yeah.
So if you could do me a favor and just call up Belichick, just on your own time, no worries, you have to do it during the show, and just give him a good word and tell him we would absolutely love him in Philly.
He likes that passion though. I mean, he loved the passion of Boston, even though people thought he was miserable all the time. Pete can tell you in private conversations, he loved that passion. He really did, and so he would love the passion of Philadelphia because Angel, he doesn't give a shit if they get on him. It doesn't bother him. He's got thick skin, and he sit there and go, yeah, they should be all over my ass. We lost by 2 touchdowns, So, but I think that's a place he would look at because I think Bill's going to look at it at his age, and he's going to say to himself, how much longer can I do this? I can't do a 4 or 5 year rebuilding program.
Yep.
They're gonna see me as Joe Biden, and they're gonna sit there and try to replace me with some woman. That's what they're gonna do. So he's gonna look at it and say, I got to have a short turnaround. What one of those teams out there can I do it with the quickest? And you tell me. I think Philadelphia could do it. They've got the quarterback, though he's been a little scatter. A little bit this year. I think he's a legit quarterback, franchise quarterback. They've got the personnel. Something's missing, and it might be coaching.
Big O, you're the best. Thanks so much for taking some time. Best to you and the fam and everything. And hope everything is great out in Arizona. And we will talk soon. I know you'll be on TNT tonight watching the Celtics, as I will. So thanks, Big O. We'll talk to you soon. All the best.
Okay, bud. It's always great being with you. Thank you, Angel.
You're welcome, Glenn. Thank you.
See ya.
All righty. Joey B says, Pete and Glenn strike me as the social kings of their...
There's the social kings up there, 55-plus hoods in Southwest Florida and Arizona. I bet Glenn makes a mean margarita for all the pickleball ladies.
I'm not a pickleball guy. You know why? And even though I like the game, all it takes is one slip, and there goes your Achilles heel. You know how many people over 50 down here are in traction because of pickleball?
Yep.
I mean, it's insane. Thanks to all the great guests today. Thanks to the Big O Glenn Orway. Thanks to John Leahy. Thanks to Jay Flannelly. Great stuff. And I will be back tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Angel, great job as always. And I didn't get to read some of your guys' texts, but we'll go back into it tomorrow as well. So great guests lined up. All the latest NFL, college football news, MLB, NHL, NBA. Whatever tickles my fancy. Let's see what happens. There could be more firings today in the NFL. Doug Peterson, does he have a job tomorrow by the time we get on the air? Well, we shall see. Angel, have a great rest of your Tuesday, Angel. We'll be back tomorrow with you at 7 a.m. I will text you the guest list later, my friend.